Welcome to San Miguel TV, yo. We are live, so live you can hear me live. Jump back on, my brother. I see you in the background. Something was going on. Farewell to the flesh. I said farewell to welfare a long time ago. Yo, tonight we feeling nice. We chilling. It's September 19th right now, 2025. I'm actually live streaming from an undisclosed location right now. And I want to say Shabbat Shalom and all that good stuff. I saw you in the background, my brother. It said device was not connected. How's the sound? How's the visuals? This is the best that I could do right now for the visuals. Just, keep supporting San Miguel TV. I promise you shit's gonna get better. We're gonna take it to the next level. We're moving on from something called the ICGJC. Let me see here. This is device not connected. I don't know what that means. Let me do this. I kicked you so that maybe that is gonna refresh something. I don't know what's going on, but it keeps saying that you're not connected somehow. I'm pretty sure this is the same link I sent you on, but if you want to, oh, you know what? If you have a YouTube app, if you have the YouTube app already open, turn it off, turn everything, swipe everything out, click on, I guess, the link that I gave you from the text, or just go through your YouTube and click on this link right here in the comment section, whoever wants to join. If you know San Miguel TV, you know that I came out of a Hebrew Israelite cult called the ICGJC, and which is the leader of the ICGJC was a man from Harlem, New York. He was actually from the South Bronx, but he's from Uptown. If you want to keep it localized in a certain area, it's all Uptown. Harlem, South Bronx that's where he's from. His name was Jermaine Grant. Not the terrorist from Kenya, because there's a terrorist from Kenya named Jermaine Grant that always pops up when you type up the name Jermaine Grant. It's not that cat. I saw you in the background, but I can't do anything. I just texted you the same thing I just said right now, brother. I know you're trying to get on. I got a special guest coming on tonight, by the way. I got a special guest coming on. A very, very special guest, a VS, very special G, a very special G, and an OG at that. A man that everybody can learn from, that I want to learn from. I want to hear his story personally. I want to be able to talk to him and ask him questions. I knew his brother. We were all in the ICGJC. Let's get this shit going, and we're gonna get it started. I'm gonna share my screen just to get something started real quick. Share this shit. I'm actually right now live streaming from Orlando.
It's 2 o'clock, 2:06 to be specific, here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're on the East Coast of the country, I know it's about 5 p.m. for y'all. This is the show where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked.
What we're going to talk about today,
And I'm looking forward to today's show where we're going to do
it's a little something called
when it was unified, but then there was a split. And this
the lost and forgotten Black Hebrew Israelite cult. Let's see here. Okay, let me see. Copy. Yeah. This is Vocab Malone's channel. He's a Christian apologist that interviewed former Hebrew Israelite members. This is the famous Tazadaqyah Matan, also known as Saint Ivan.
led to all these different One West camps that we see today. And you guys told me that you were there that night. What happened when
he's having a conversation? Vocab Malone's having a conversation with the brother, former ICGJC apostle Ivan, and former ICGJC Bishop Noel. We're going to talk to a former high-ranking member too, special guest. You know, we could watch these videos, but actually, you know what? Let me do Gotham to go Israelites. I want to go live for like an hour, maybe. If you would lend me your ears for just about an hour, we always say it's going to be this long, and then it ends up being longer than we think. I'm going to read this first, and then I'm going to allow my special guest to speak for himself. I see you, brother. Thank you for coming on and inspiring this whole live stream right now. We're going to talk about something that's serious. And in this channel, the San Miguel TV was started because of the ICGJC and a leader by the name of Jermaine Grant, who was the leader of a church called the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ that it's forgotten, and it's almost like a lost cause. It is a lost cause, but the only way that they can remain relevant is because we are speaking about this place. And I'm gonna bring a brother on right now that can tell you better than I can.
Hello.
Yes, I hear you.
You hear me?
We can hear you. We can see you.
I don't get it, man. I'm telling you, this is my phone went crazy. I just ordered another one, and then I didn't even get it yet, but my current one is acting up. You can hear me.
Yeah, no, we hear you really good, actually. So it's all right. You know, it actually gave me a little bit of time to kind of set up, because I apologize for coming on late. I know I promised you 9:45, and then I switched it up. But I wanted to do this regardless. You know that we had to do this. It's been a long time coming. We had a great conversation. You actually really put something in me that day that we spoke that made me realize certain things, you know, like something like that we want to get to. That's important too. You know, that's more important than this topic. You know, I actually wanted to make that the topic, but then I said, why don't we start off by, you know, coming to some common ground at least, and then we could go from there. But you're still on. I can hear you. I can't see you. That's okay. But yeah, I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to speak, you know, tell me a little bit about your history, man, brother. What you were in the ICGJC pretty much. What was your Hebrew name? When did you come in? Tell me a little bit about your history, please. If you can hear me clearly.
Not giving me any sound.
You can't hear? Can you hear it? Is that better right now? Can you hear? I could hear you and see you, but I don't know if...
Can you drop me out and then I'll come back in?
Yeah. Okay. Boom. All right, so we revealed the guest. It's all good. We just talking about the ICGJC, man. That's what we're gonna talk about. We see them trying to make a little comeback. I see you, all you cats. I don't know half of your names, but we see you out there, man, trying to make a little comeback. But if it wasn't for us speaking about you guys would be lost and forgotten. All right. Let's talk about it. What? Never mind. Never mind. I was gonna go live stream from there, but you know what? We were good where we were at, right? I don't know if I move it, it'll change sometimes the Wi-Fi signal. Either way, you know, this shit ain't professional, man. We here just going live streaming, just talking about our experiences. What's funny is that me and this brother, I think we both are from the same place. We're both from Queens. But I came into a Hebrew Israelite cult called the ICGJC when I was 20 years old in Orlando, Florida. It's crazy because this was in 2004. In 2004, Tazadaqyah was already starting his takeover of the ICGJC. See, the people that are talking about the ICGJC are people from within, and then there's people from without that never been within, and then there's people that been within that are now without. Who do you think is going to have the best, the most non-biased shit right now? It's going to be somebody that used to be there and is now out. What up, Jason Creed? Welcome to the live stream. How you doing, brother?
Hey, boss. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming back. What's going on?
No problem, man. I see you was doing a live and you have the stage open for people to join.
Yep. There was a brother that was on right now, and I wanted him to give his little history. He's gonna come back, so when he comes back, you know, we got to give him his respect and give him the floor, because this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him. And
I'm sorry.
You know, this whole live stream. No, it's cool that you came on. You used to be in a Hebrew Israelite camp too.
Vaguely. I was preaching.
Right.
I was a street preacher.
You know, I want to talk to you about something else, but I think I want to keep it to not to not go that route. I think I want to keep it on this ICGJC stuff right now, man.
I understand.
You know? Welcome back, brother.
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, you might be on mute. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Can we hear you now?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Wait. There you go. I hear something. Jason Creed, I can hear you and you can hear me fine?
Yes, I hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Aaron, I can't hear him. Still can't hear him.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's crazy. We went live on Facebook and everything was great on Facebook. We did a live stream and we were talking about something real deep. But sometimes when I go live on the laptop like this,
Mhm.
it might be something on my end. I don't know. I hope it's but either. Oh no, here we go. Hold on. You muted yourself. Yeah, you muted yourself. I can't unmute you.
Mm.
Yeah. It's like when that happens, I know that it says something on your end because I can't unmute you. Oh, yeah, there you go. Hello? Nah, it's like cutting in and out. It's like I don't know what's going on. Do you have a Bluetooth thing on? And sometimes it also might be like the a background thing that's playing a music or a sound or Bluetooth even. You know, this live streaming stuff, there's a lot of technical stuff. I love going live. That's like my favorite thing to do because anything can happen. And this ain't, I ain't trying to front like this
If
unprofessional
I
because
can hear him, I think I can hear him now.
oh
Aaron, oh, I'm sorry.
no. You want me to throw
Mhm.
you off and then you come back on? Let me see. I'm gonna do this. Boom. Come back on. You got the joint. I don't know if it's sometimes you just gotta refresh, swipe everything away. I don't know, but Jason Creed, man. We were in the comment section going back and forth about yesterday's live stream. I wish you would have, I gotta plan these things better so we could talk about these things better. But
Sorry
I,
about that,
I'd rather stay on a certain topic, man. Have you ever heard of Jermaine Grant Tazadaqyah?
Jermaine Grant, yes.
Who is this guy
Yes.
to you? What have you heard? What was the first time you ever heard about this guy?
Jermaine Grant is the comforter.
Oh,
And
he is the comforter?
no. He's not the comforter. Excuse
Right,
me.
right.
Excuse me. He's referred to his followers as the comforter.
They're gonna get you on that, brother.
Yeah, they're gonna get me on that. But
That's so good.
Jermaine Grant was referred to his followers and former followers as sort of the comforter. And he was a very despised man throughout the whole Hebrew Israelite world, basically.
He was hated by GMS. He's hated
Yeah.
by no, yeah, every other is he didn't get along with any other Israelite group.
No.
It's kind of like where Nathaniel is right now.
Yeah, because Jermaine Grant, that was like the big hell no to most people, most Israelites.
What was it about him besides the comforter doctrine? He was saying that he was an extension of the Holy Spirit. He was saying that he was the Holy Spirit in the flesh.
Yeah.
And he was an extension, and that the Holy Spirit is an extension of God.
Right.
Because everything comes from within God.
Right. And he also had like a little Catholic type thing going on as well.
But they teach, and you can see IUIC change their tone about who Yahweh is now. And they teach now, from what I'm seeing, IUIC teaches that Jesus Christ is Yahweh.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you now the IUIC? That's the Israelite United in Christ, right?
Israel United in Christ.
Israel United in Christ.
You have the ISUPK that doesn't believe that Jesus Christ is Yahweh. They believe that's God the Father, but they'll say that Jesus Christ created everything besides, I guess, the Father.
Right. He's
But
like the
but
architect of the universe. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, but still, this is a distinction between what we used to do and what I'm seeing some Christians are doing now. So didn't don't we all teach that Jesus Christ was created, even if that was Tazadaqyah, and even if we're saying it's Yahweh, Jesus Christ is Yahweh, we were saying that Jesus Christ was still created at some point, and he has a beginning.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if you saw the debate with a Christian apologist named God Logic with Tazadaqyah of ISUPK. He's debated a few people actually, and
Mhm.
he kind of shut them down on how there is no creation of Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ always existed with the Father.
I'm familiar with that.
I've never really heard that before. I don't think.
I am not familiar. Okay, as you said that there's a debate going on between those two about if Jesus was created or was he with God himself the whole time.
Well, they did a debate already like 6 months ago. I didn't have
Right.
no clue because now this guy, God is this. There's a black Christian apologist
Mhm.
that's cool with vocab Malone, and his name is God Logic. Have you heard of this guy?
God Logic. I think, does he have a bald head?
Nah, he has a full head of hair with
I'm
long,
sorry.
long, poofy hair, like a Dragon's Ball Z type hair.
Hmm.
Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all the debate, and maybe we could go over this topic a little bit. I guess
Hmm.
because the ICGJC would teach that Yahweh is Jesus Christ. ISUPK teaches that Yahweh is God the Father, and
Hmm.
that Jesus Christ is Yahweh Shai, and that He has a beginning, and He's not God. But that term that the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, the ICGJC, uses is God the Father, God
Hmm.
the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and those three are one.
Right. That's the triune Trinity.
There you go, brother. You know what we're talking about here. Like you're advanced. You can speak about these topics intelligently, just like I can. That's why I
Hmm.
love having you as a guest. I appreciate you, man. We were going back and forth a little bit. We said some things. I love you, brother. It's all
If I
love.
wasn't planning on fighting you or anything or trying to embarrass you either,
Right, right, right.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would like us to have a civil disagreement.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry.
I want to call you and we can talk before we even go live. And then, I don't want to throw off the topic of this, but
No,
we'll get to that, man.
no.
I'm a person that I live stream about different topics,
Right.
but the reason why I started this channel was because of the ICGJC and my
I'm
cousin.
sorry about that.
Yeah,
But
and my family and my cousin Tazawarya. That was one of the main reasons why I created this channel. My cousin was definitely in my mind.
mhm,
The brother Will Nee was, if you ever, I don't know, he's never been on my channel actually, but people know
mhm,
who he is. People like Brooklyn Outlaw, they were on my mind. Harad Kahan, I'm a one. Um, Brothers that's still in there. Amath, I wanted you to hear. I wanted all these people to hear, the other side of things, because
mhm.
they're definitely a cult. Because they always ask, "How are we a cult?" You're a cult because you do something called information control. That's how you're a cult, Saint Basil. Why don't you clip this part right here? When they say, "Y'all never describe how we a cult. Y'all just call us a cult." This is how you're a cult. You kick people out of the cult that have information on your leader, like Yahalama, the little sex toy that Tazadaqyah had out here in Orlando that you think that we don't know about. But guess
Mm.
what? We know about her, and she did a live with me, and
Wow.
we know about her. That's Yahalama. Um, and she exposed that cat for behaving a certain way that, you know, he was teaching that he was something else, man. You're supposed to be the man of God. You're supposed to be even better than a person like me, you know. And I think I was behaving better than the leader. Tazadaqyah was actually evil as fuck.
Yeah, Tazadaqyah probably didn't have a conscience.
Yeah, for sure. I think that he also had mental issues where he was probably schizophrenic. He was
Really?
probably a narcissistic. He was definitely a narcissistic person with sociopathic type of behavior, and his personality was the type of personality where, have you ever had a boss that you know, like somebody like a boss that, yeah, you know, when he's not around, you can kind of like let loose and chill, but when he's around, you're on your fucking toes and shit.
Right.
This shit was like that, but on 100 times the level, bro. 100
Right.
times. Like that's what they do with, probably with Nathaniel. That's how they treat Nathaniel, like he's somebody like a reincarnation of somebody in the Bible, because the ICGJC and all these Hebrew Israelite groups, they believe in reincarnation.
Yes. Yes. Reincarnation is like very basic, very like that's one of the first teachings that you learn about
Yeah, that's
how
right.
we're all were once slaves back in slavery at one time, or like, you know, they would tell you how you would get upset by certain things, or you would feel, you know, it was certain like ancestor memories and as well as reincarnation combined as one, sort of. It's very complex how they would teach you.
Well, they would
By
say
the time
something.
I showed up in it, I'm sorry.
They would say something like this to kind of like make you think. They would say, well, do you think this is what I would say? Actually, I don't think I've ever heard anybody else say this, but I forgot how I came upon this way of thinking. One time I told myself, because they would say, well, hell is never full because God just recycles those same souls. So he'll take a soul right out of hell and put him back on earth.
Wow, that's like a total different doctrine right there.
But
We
also
never
check
never
this out.
dealt with that one.
Well, let me ask you. God created everything in 6 days, right?
And he rested on the
Right.
seventh.
So that includes what? Everything from the angels to the animals to humans to even like the spirit of a human, right?
Right.
Because then there's physical bodies, the terrestrial, and then there's celestial bodies.
Correct.
So God created every celestial body, and that was all included in the 6 days, right?
Correct.
So you have new babies being born every day. Does God create a new spirit every time a new baby is born? Every time a baby is born, is God creating a new spirit for that particular baby? We would say no, he's recycling an old spirit and it's just a new flesh. The flesh is nothing. The
Right.
flesh is the flesh is like it gets thrown away and constantly flushed and thrown back, and it comes back, and the shit, you wash that shit off in this tub, and you see your skin peeling off, and the flesh is weak.
Right. And this is where it leads to Solomon being a previous life of Jesus, basically. Where King Solomon, you know, Jesus was here at one time as Solomon.
They
You
would
know,
say the teachings in the ISUPK, not the shit with Johanna, the real ISUPK, that Johanna was actually subservient to the seven heads.
mm-hmm.
Who were the seven heads? We got Ariyah, Shar, Yeshaya,
Jaquab.
Yaiquab,
Um,
Lahab.
Lahab, right?
That's
Lahab.
5. 7 heads. I forget who else.
Let me see. Arya, Shaw,
Barak.
Barak.
Barak 6. That's the one that used to travel, whatever. It's not Tazapawan. I forget, but Kazakh. Somebody said Kazakh. Kazakh is the one that was traveling, not Barak. Kazakh. Yeah, Mega Dardigan. Mega Dardigan. But let me share this real quick so we could talk about. Now, you know what? Forget that topic. When it comes to Yahweh, who's Yahweh? I mean, we could stay on that topic, but I don't have to show the video. I was going to show the video of God Logic debating Tazadaqyah. I think that it were 2 rounds, so it was like an hour debate, 30 minutes each round, something like that. And the first round was a debate on is Jesus Christ God. I think the question should have been, was Jesus Christ created? Because they started talking about Jesus Christ, if he was created, and they're trying to use semantics about the word God, because in the Bible it says ye are all gods. So they can use semantics on that and say, well, Jesus Christ technically was a God. And it's like, no, the Bible literally says in Colossians, I believe chapter 1 verse 19 or 1 and 9, that now I might have the whole book wrong actually, but there's another verse I think I'm thinking about, but there's scriptures that say that Jesus Christ had created all things, and all things were created through him and by him, and that nothing exists without him.
Kingdoms, the dimensions, thrones,
Yeah,
certain places like that. Yeah,
that's right.
sorry.
Nah, man. The ICGJC changed the whole doctrine in the Hebrew Israelite community, and they had a little thing going for a little while. But when was the last time you ever heard anything about the ICGJC, man? Have you even heard anything? Like, they're trying to be relevant by causing.
I haven't heard anything from them from the last basically 10 years or more.
They're trying to start a little war with the IUIC, and it's like
that's impossible.
That shit ain't going nowhere. They're not even acknowledging these clowns.
That's not gonna work.
The ICGJC is dead, yo, lost and forgotten.
No, because their whole thing was the God sent comforter.
The God sent comforter. That was like the revival of the
Tazadaqyah.
I mean, the year 2000 prophecy was tragic for that whole movement, I think. So when these cats realize that people are not hanging on to the doctrine, because they've been saying some shit for almost 12 years, or more than 12 years, I think. The furthest I could go back, where I heard some shit in 1989 in New York City, man. They were in Times Square. I don't know where I saw this video. Or somewhere on YouTube, there are some classic 1989, 1980 videos of these cats teaching in Times Square, bro, in Manhattan. I'm like 4 years old in Queens right now, in 1980. No, actually in 1988 I wasn't, but 1990 I'm in Queens in 1990 for sure. And these motherfuckers were in the streets already then, teaching that Jesus Christ is going to come back in the year 2000 before it even hit the 90s. I remember seeing a video, man. That shit was going on as some hope, bro. For 12 years, I think 11 years, they were teaching that. And then they changed their name to the ISUPK, and then they changed their name from the ISUPK. I'm sorry, from the ISUPK to the ICUPK. Then they changed their name to the ICGJC, and that's when Tazadaqyah started taking over. The doctrine changed, where Jesus Christ was not just some regular dude. That's actually Yahweh. But they didn't teach that he's Yahweh, but Yahweh was still created. The Father is the real God now, and we don't know his name, so we just call him God the Father. And we know that we were teaching that God the Son, his name is known, and his name was Yahweh, which is, I am that I am. That
Yes,
name
sir.
was actually revealed in the book of Exodus, I believe, to Moses. And before that, they were calling him Baal, which means Lord.
Mhm. Mhm. Correct.
The ICGJC, though, what was the last thing you ever heard about them? Like,
Man, the last time I heard of them, I swear to you, was you, technically.
so because I'm speaking about them, they're even somebody even knows about who the fuck they are. Because
Well,
if I would have did a live stream right now about Trey Reed or the dude Corey Zatukis,
right.
the two people that were found hung.
Yeah.
This, we could talk about it a little bit. The two people that were found hung in Mississippi. That's relevant right now. Like that
That's
shit,
more relevant. Right.
way more relevant.
Way more relevant.
And I understand where people are going with their train of thought. It's almost like you can't help but think it. It's like black person hung Mississippi. You don't. It's like now you have to prove to me that it's not somebody that was lynched. Like you
Well,
have to prove to me
let's hold on a second, though. Well, let's hold on a second, because there was a
Yeah.
person who was lynched, a black man who was hung and down to City Hall in California.
Really.
Yeah, like a few years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That this happens. Like, I mean, people hang themselves. I didn't look up how many people hang themselves every year, but
Mhm.
there's videos of people hanging themselves dead. So when you ask why would somebody do that, because people are fucking crazy, bro. That's why.
I guess.
That's an argument from ignorance. Why would somebody do that, or why would people do shit? And
Mhm.
it's like we all that where the evidence leads me. I don't have the body. I'm not a forensic expert, and I don't believe that. I think it's more of a stretch for you to conjure up a conspiracy where mad people have to now be involved, which includes a police department, which includes the school, the university. These are all a lot of people that now you have to create an excuse for, like, why is this shit not coming out? Like, these people are masters of deception. There's not going to be one person that's going to come out and leak some shit. That's why I don't believe that shit is some type of cover up. Because
Like, go
Bill
ahead. I'm
Clinton,
sorry.
Bill Clinton couldn't cover up that he got his fucking dick sucked and he was the president of the United States. You mean to tell me that a black person is going to get hung on a campus and it's going to get covered up and nobody's going to know shit? Come on, man. I don't believe that, bro. I believe that dude killed himself, and people are making a big deal out of it because people love victimhood is a badge of honor nowadays. So if you can put another fucking victim to the list, it makes people like feel like, oh, people care about me and they want to kill me. Like, bro, nobody cares enough to kill you. And where do you? I've heard that this is retaliation for something. Where are all
Yeah.
these?
Yeah. I felt it was a retaliation, a racial retaliation for that woman being stabbed in that bus, that Ukrainian foreigner woman.
all
That's
this
how I feel.
all this shit starts off on the internet, and then there's stories that his bones were broken. Where the hell? The coroner never said that, bro. That shit could be
Mhm.
determined. That if somebody's bones are broken, that shit could be determined in 2 minutes, man,
Mhm.
by a person that's not even a medical expert. So that doesn't make sense. There would have to be so many people involved in a cover up. You know,
Like,
this
in
way of
my,
thinking.
I'm
This
sorry.
way of thinking is the reason why we believe in things without evidence. This is the reason why we believe Tazadaqyah was the comforter, because
Well,
he can sway us in a certain way, because we were looking at what he was teaching us, right? And now you see IUIC going that way, you know. So listen, when it comes to the Bible, that dude was teaching that shit on a higher level than anybody was teaching it, better than Tahar, better than even Nathaniel at the moment, at the time that he was alive. He
mm,
was giving us classes every week, and it was a full-blown breakdown of some shit. Now, mind you, he was getting it from other people, so it made him look like he was the originator of these things. But I made a video about the 3 unclean spirits like frogs, a great example of how Tazadaqyah stole a teaching and kind of incorporated now an old teaching that has nothing to do with Hebrew Israelism. He included that now in the Hebrew Israelite community, and we were all a part of that. Welcome back. I don't know if we could hear you. Can we?
Let me know if you can hear me. I'm talking now.
I hear you perfectly.
Okay, yeah, man.
Welcome back, brother.
Welcome
Yeah,
back, sir.
man. They got me. Yeah, they got me, man. I ordered another phone because my phone was acting up, and I've had it for a while anyway. It's been like 3 years. The
Mhm.
Samsung Z Fold. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get another one. And yeah, that planned obsolescence stuff is real, man. Because ever since I got to the 36 month, now everything on it is just acting funny. I
You
had to
don't like
restart
you
it.
don't like you don't like iPhones?
Nah, it's an inferior product.
I see. I've ever since I've jumped from Samsung to iPhone, I've been having to do my whole channel a whole different way. Bro, if I don't know if you remember when I first started my channel, it was all Samsung, and the quality and everything, I was able to just do, like, it was just, I don't know, everything came easier. Apple is too restrictive, with
Yes,
certain things.
Android is open source, and I was in wireless for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So I was there when the smartphones came on board. Even when you had to use a smart device separately from your main device and all that. And I'm telling you, all the integration for Android is better than iPhone. I know we got a lot of iPhone or Apple sycophants out there. They really believe it's a better product. It is not. And most people that have a problem with Samsung, or not really Samsung, because Samsung is the company, Android is because a lot of people were going with the free options that had slow processors in the past. So because Android was open source, anyone can make an Android phone. So if you had just any Android phone instead of the best, then you're like, oh man, Android doesn't work, this, that, and the other. And you kind of find out a lot of people that come to the store with issues, they had slow processors, etc. But if you're dealing with the best of it, you're not going to have those issues. Again, it took me literally 3 years to have a problem with a phone with this phone. Um, but yeah, that's another subject. Yeah, but that was crazy. I had to restart this thing and hold buttons down and all other stuff just to get connected again.
Man, so good.
It's no problem.
Yeah,
It's good to have you on here, sir.
Thank you.
yeah, man. I thank you for coming on. We were kind of talking about the ICGJC a little bit. This brother Jason Creed was in GMS when I was in the ICGJC, when you were in the ICGJC too.
Oh, okay.
When did you come in?
Me or Jacob?
Aaron Wahab, my brother. When did you come in this joint?
I was 15. And so to be clear, I'm 48 now. So I was in from 15, the age of 15 to the age of 43.
Gotcha. Damn.
So yeah, because my brother was in back when in New York and everything. We were he was in. I don't know how he got in. One of his friends. I'm not really sure. But me being a younger brother, I always looked up to my brother, so I wanted to follow behind him. And I did. And yeah, man, fit from 15,
Hmm.
age of 15.
Was it called the ICGJC? I'm guessing it wasn't.
Nah, it was ISUPK. First it was Israeli Church of Universal Practical Knowledge. Then it was the Israelite Church of Universal Practical Knowledge. They changed it a little bit. So I was when I started going up to One West with my brother. This was back when right before the first major split, when they had the King David thing going on, and before Yeshaya took over. Um, was when I first got there. Although, Yeshaya was still a prominent teacher at the time. This was just before that split happened. So that would have been, let's see, 13. So that would have been like 91 or somewhere around it, like 90, 91. Let's see, yeah. 90, 91. I don't remember. I know first time I went, it was like the wintertime.
So it must have been called the Israeli School of Universal
Yeah,
Practical.
there you go. Yeah, Israeli school. My bad. Yeah, I said church, but yeah, ISUPK at that time.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when it was like the spikes and the and everything, or the armbands were spiked. Everybody was kind of freestyling with their garments and everything.
That's
real
great.
elaborate.
I was like 7 years old in 1991, and I was living in Queens, Astoria, Queens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we was in South Side, Jamaica, Queens.
That's
South
when
Side. So.
that's when people used to have pet snakes and shit, and they used to carry them shits around their necks with damn white beaters,
Yeah, wow.
Some diesel ass cats with a snake around their neck. I remember them days. I was mad young. I used to think that was like the most outrageous thing.
Yeah, you see cats rolling around like that with skates.
on skates
with striped socks.
For sure,
roller skates, man, with striped socks, man.
Yeah,
for real.
Sure.
Who else is this time?
Man, we got another guest on, Brooklyn Outlaw. What's up, brother?
What's going on? How y'all doing, man? What's up with y'all?
We're good.
Hello, sir.
Hey. We're here talking about the ICGJC, and there's a guest here, man. This is Yashar's brother, man. Brooklyn Outlaws from Orlando. We when I came in 2004, he was already in, and then like in 2008, 2007, I think they sent Yashar from wherever he was at to Orlando. We got a lot of history.
2007.
I met Aaron a couple times. I met him a couple times. He's a cool dude.
Okay, yeah, that was 2007 because that's right when actually that was 2006 he went to Orlando, or end of 2006 because that's when I went to Allentown, and I think he got that sent there right around the same time they told me about Allentown because I was gonna be moving out of New York, and I remember I went to council and Tazadaqyah was like, you thought about Allentown? And my brother had said it, had followed up with it, and then we went on a trip. We took a road trip out to Allentown just to check it out, and met Dion. And why am I forgetting his Hebrew name?
I forget all these guys' names.
Man, I mean, good brother. But I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. Yadawa. There we go. He was out there, and Abad Karai, Sam, and Zion was out there. But I only met at that time when me and my brother went out there. I only met Dion out there that time, and then I eventually moved not too long after that, the summer. That was like spring, so then I moved out there in the summer.
Okay. Yeah. I think it was the fall. It was right around the Feast of Tabernacles when I came in 2004, and by then, I mean. Well, let me ask you because I actually just thought about this because we were talking about this, right, Jason? We were talking about okay, you came in 1991. Were they already teaching that Jesus Christ was going to come back in the year 2000 by then?
So that was right when that was being integrated into the teaching. I only say that because the first few classes that I had, they weren't saying that, but they were talking. They did start talking the year 2000, and of course, it got more intense as we got closer to it. But that would have been right around the time that started. And, you know, somebody might have a better date, but again, I was 15. I was in the sport, so I was coming just Friday nights, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I was playing ball and running track, so I had a lot of stuff going on at the time with school. So I wasn't there every day like everybody else. Plus, you know, living in Queens, you got to take to go up to Harlem, that take a minute on the train, you know what I mean? So unless
No,
I was
but
getting a ride with my brother.
not just in Queens, because keep in mind, like, I'm from West Queens. I'm from like where Astoria and even Central Queens, like Jackson Heights. I lived in Elmhurst. But I used to have a girl out on Far Rockaway Boulevard, and like Lefferts. Bro, that's
Okay.
I used to
Yeah, that's
take
outside Ozone Park.
yeah, that's Ozone Park, not far from Sutter Avenue.
Yeah, so you just like minutes from East New York.
Right, yeah.
Minutes from East New
That
York.
whole
That's where I
area,
went to high school.
it takes a minute to get to the city from there.
Yeah, it does.
I
Because I
hated
was in a two-fare zone. So you gotta take the train, you gotta take the bus to the train.
right.
Once you get to Southside, because you're almost on Long Island. So, yeah, like 15 minutes, you're on Long Island. So once you get to Jamaica, Queens, I know it's a lot of people, you know, from and about thereabouts. But honestly, from Jamaica, Queens, in 15 minutes, you're on Long Island. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it is
that's right.
relative to the city. That's deep.
I remember one time my pops drove me to Rockaway, Far Rockaway,
Oh
and
yeah.
we had to actually come into Long Island and then come back because it said "Welcome to Queens," and I'm like, "What the hell?" You
Yep.
know, that's crazy. But yeah, I was when I mean, I don't remember ever hearing about Hebrew Israelite. I don't even remember ever seeing Hebrew Israelites. Maybe like when I was like 18, 19, I was working at the Queen Center Mall, and
Okay.
there was like a Foot Locker, like right when you got off the train on Queens Boulevard. And I remember seeing something. Like, I'm really scratching my brain trying to like remember something, but you know how you people are in New York City, bro. You just walk by, you don't even pay attention to the craziest shit. So I might have seen Hebrew Israelites before in New York City, but it never even caught my mind at all. It wasn't until I moved to Orlando that I don't know why that shit just came to me, and I thought it was like my calling to be called into this thing and start up, this Orlando branch, like to kind of be like a pioneer, which I felt like I think I am one of the pioneers of Orlando. Brooklyn Outlaw definitely was already there, but Queens and New York City was already like in 1991. This was before the split. Do you remember seeing Masha?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I remember Marsha. Marsha, obviously it was Yeshaya. Tazadaqyah wasn't any prominence at that time. But he was I know he was in the Hebrew Academy because I remember when the men would come in and they would reference the Hebrew Academy, he was in there, but in that section. But he had
He must be around your age, or he was around your age.
oh yeah, he's like 3 years older than me. Or yeah. Yeah, I think he's like 3 years older than me. So it was pretty close because um I was 15 and that was the summertime, so he would have been like 17, 18 at the time. So he didn't really I mean he was there, but it wasn't yeah, it was more yeah, it was a lot of other people. There was a lot of people from Queens that was in there too. The thing that bugged me out was that like you said, the same thing for me. I didn't really know anything about the Israelites. Although my oldest brother was an Israelite, but he was part of like Benny Adad Church in Brooklyn, Temple or whatever, in Brooklyn, and they weren't like they were more like run like a synagogue. What is more like that? where they actually read Hebrew, taught spoken Hebrew. Like my nephews, they're the same age as me, and I used to always go visit them in Brooklyn and Canarsie, and they followed the Sabbath, like where they had to turn everything off and everything. Couldn't cook. Their moms had to cook the day before or before the sun went down for on Friday and stuff like that. So when I would go, it was like no TV, no cable, no toys, no nothing. It was like so they ran it more. It was like a hybrid of a Pentecostal slash uh, synagogue type the way they did it. Um, like their fringes with the strings. You know what I mean? They damn near would have had doilies on the side of their head or whatever if they could. But black people here don't be like that too much. But so I came into contact with it, but didn't really realize what it was. I was like, okay, Israelites, Jews. Like I wasn't paying attention to what it was, but we did read the Torah whenever I was at my brother's house, and it was frequently because my two nephews, we're all within like months of each other in age. So while Yashar and my other brother, they way older than me, my nephews were more of my brothers than say Yashar and my other brother Yasin. So I knew way more than I realized I knew because I was always like from a child, from like real little, going to the Sabbath with them at their church. But I just thought it was like another kind of Muslim thing because my parents are Muslim. So I just looked at it and like, all right, this is a different type of Muslim. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Your last name looks like it's Muslim last name.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Or Arabic last name. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So I have a little history too that before I came into the ICGJC, so I have a cousin named Jesus, right? I don't know if you might know who he is, but he's from Yonkers. And his name was Yahweh Shai Ba, and he's Dominican.
I heard the name.
He was
I heard the name before.
He had braids. He had little cornrows. That cousin of mine. He's like a second cousin, actually, if you want to be more specific. But we were kind of close because my grandmother was sisters with his mother, pretty much. My grandmother and his mother were sisters. So every once in a while, I would go out to Yonkers, and he never dropped nothing on me. It wasn't until he came to visit me in 2003, and I had never heard about anything. And we were smoking weed, bro. And he came out here, visited, with my aunt, his sister, and we were chilling. And he just he was like, "Yo, let's chill. Where can you get some trees? We got some trees." We smoked, and then he started telling me about Levi and Simeon. Like I remember that, and then I guess that was an introduction somehow into this, but I didn't have like I grew up like it was Catholicism, so it was still the Bible, but it wasn't any type of this Harlem. This is a whole different type of thing. This ain't Catholicism at all. This is like Black spiritualism, coming from 125th Street, Harlem. That is like the Harlem Renaissance is like this is the come up of Black Americans. If you really look at it, and this is where spirituality came into through Harlem from Black people that came from Virginia, North Carolina, from the South, and wanted to make a name for themselves, and they did, right in Harlem. So this history and this great rich history, they use that, like the ICGJC tries to jump on on the coattails of this and say that they're the real reason why any of this even really happened in the Black community is to bring forth this cult in some way when you really look at it, because this thing didn't really start until like they say 1969 with Abba Bivens. As far back as you're probably the person that has the most history that's ever, in this ICGJC or ISUPK thing that's ever been on my channel. because as far as I could go, it's just 2004. Tazadaqyah took over, and as far as like the Hebrew Israelite community is concerned, that was like a bad thing, and everybody was against the ICGJC. I mean, I felt like we were against everybody. What happened? Like, how did that happen? Where there was once all this unity, and then all of a sudden there was a split before Tazadaqyah 94. Like, what do you think?
So,
It was money, right? I mean, that's what I would say.
well, it's always money, and then also power and whoever's getting the adulation that they want or not getting it. But it there's more background, like I guess that that people that were in higher ranks and all that know who said what or whatever. So for the years that I was in high school, it was just I was a spectator watching what was happening. But and then they would make the announcements and say put whatever spin on it. Um, so for who was saying what to who, shoot, probably the best person to ask about that part would be like Saint Ivan. He was he was in the ranks like on a daily basis. So he got like the play by play of what happened. But what I do know, when I came in, and I think I was there when he came in. When he came in, I think he talked about the time people got thrown down the steps and all that. I was there that night, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was a kid. I didn't know what I was like. I don't know if they arguing about something. It ain't got nothing to do with me or whatever. But yeah, some people got thrown down the steps or whatever. Doors open with the red and stuff. But
I've heard that.
I know I was there at night, and me and him have had many conversations, and that's when he actually came in. And I think that's around the time Zion came in too. Like they came in right around the same time, if I remember correctly. Of course, somebody will follow up with some video saying, "No, you wrong," blah blah blah. Bro, I don't care honestly. It's roughly around the same time. But that said, I know when I first came in, it was still underneath the order of David. What would they call it? The order of David, the King David, where where they were doing that.
Aaron.
Something.
I think it's the order of Aaron, and then came the order of Melchizedek.
Yeah, then it was the order of Melchizedek. Sounded fancy and everything, and they had a whole doctrine around it. But I know that's when Yeshaya really took power, and they were bragging about it, doing all kind of classes. You come in on the walls, it had pictures of them laying on spikes, getting cinder blocks broken on them and stuff like that on the walls. Like they were all into like martial arts and stuff like that. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. So as a kid, we were lionizing them. Like, oh man, that must be amazing. These cats, they got to be right because they look. I mean, they look like crazy. It was like gangster. It was like gangster Muslims. When I was little, seeing that.
I mean, you could kind of relate to it, and then at the same time, it's cool. It's kind of cool how it's like you could be scary but intelligent at the same time. It's like you don't really see that combination a lot. Sometimes when you see like wise, intelligent people, they always seem very just non-confrontational. But when you see somebody so aggressive, it kind of reminds me of how I would see like a Malcolm X. Like I remember the first time, saw him speak. Like that was like it blew my mind how confident he was and how eloquent he spoke, and it was like he was shutting everybody down. He was so good with the tongue, And then when I saw some of these men, I never had a real father figure in my life, and I think that also plays a part. My father figure was my brother, who was not even 2 years older than me, pretty much. That was like who I looked up to. And then all his friends and people in the neighborhood that were tough. And when I started seeing, this person's not only tough, but they're talking about the Bible, I was like, this is something else right here. Like I have to be down. I want to know what they know, and so it just felt like home. Especially, I'm like in Orlando, and it's like you got these people from Harlem. So I'm like, this feels like it just seems so right. you didn't have to convince me that the Bible was the word of God. I already believed that. And the fact that they were pulling scriptures that I've never heard before, that blew my mind. And I couldn't get any answers from my family too, because I was going back and asking questions, and nobody really knew what to say. And then I would call the church and ask them questions. Well, if they came back with something, what's the rebuttal to this? It was constant. Yeah. It was this. I already had one foot in, and then they kind of I got pulled all the way in. The 12 tribes sign was a big thing for me. I thought that had a lot of truth to it. I don't believe it anymore. And I don't blame. I mean, I don't think it's because I'm just. I mean, we go through changes, right, in life. As a man, as a person, you're going to go through changes, and the best way to do that is to always keep an open mind. I felt stagnant in that place. Like, I felt like I wasn't really growing outside of that place. You feel like you isolate yourself from your family, which is a big identifier of a cult, is isolation. And the group kind of gives you the new family. So, I felt connected to a lot of these brothers. I don't know. I think that plays a part into coming in. Like, did you feel like this became a new family for you? And did you get isolated from your real family when you came in?
Well, yeah, in a different way, because I mean, it works for different people different ways. My father was, very present in my life. Like I grew up with my father and my mother. But being that my father was a Muslim, we were raised on the Quran. We were reading. We were taught to read in Arabic and all that. So the pump was kind of primed already for me to have like alternative views as it pertained to God and spirituality already. And then, like I said, my oldest brother, well, he's my second oldest brother, but I didn't grow up, anyway, he's old enough to be my father, but he's my older brother. He was already introducing me to the Bible when I didn't even realize that that's what it was. So you mentioned Malcolm X. The funny thing was, I had another older brother who he was in jail at the time, but he would call the house and he would speak to us, and he's a Muslim too. Mm. And but he would always call and then just talk to me. So he was kind of like a mentor for me, or somebody I looked up to, because every time he spoke to me, he was always talking about being mindful of things, just common sense wisdom and stuff. And he had suggested through my sister, he told my sister, as I remember, to buy me the autobiography of Malcolm X. So I had to be around 13, 14 at the time, and I'm reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. So now this had a real heavy influence on me, because Malcolm X, was a criminal, was a thug or whatever, and then converted to Islam and changed his life and everything. So then I don't remember what year Malcolm X the movie came out, but I know it was right around that time. I'd have to check, but it seemed like all kind of the right timing. Me getting to that age of 15, I was really running the streets. I was getting into trouble. And it wasn't until, I got into high school, my second year, where I started saying, all right, I got to slow some of this stuff down, because I'm liking sports and all that other stuff. But my one brother was deep into the drug game, just running the streets. And then there was Yashar, who, for my the younger of my brothers and sisters, he was, straight laced, just always respectful, this, that, and the other in the household. And I was like, look, if I continue going the way my other brother is going, he was the first 50 Cent. He got shot 9 times in Queens, right? He's the first 50 Cent. He literally got shot 9 times, point blank range, and lived. He's still alive. But so that was when I was like 13. And so I looked at that. All this stuff was happening all around the same time. And I was like, man, if I continue in these streets the way Yas is, that's my brother, one brother got shot, I'm going to be messed up. And then I had Yashar there, and I'm like, yeah, Yashar is, you know what I'm saying? He, like, this dude was good and smart, good in school, respectful, no problems, no back talking, no arguing with my parents like this. So I'm sitting there looking as the youngest, like, okay, I got my two older brothers, man. I'm gonna shoot. I don't want to get shot 9 times. I don't want to be in jail. I don't want none of that. So I started gravitating towards Yashar because his friends and stuff, the stuff they did, they went to parties, they danced, they, you know what I mean? Their fun didn't involve, you know what I'm saying, me having to carry a gun. My other brother's fun, I had to carry a gun. You know, I kept a weapon on me at all times, but my family didn't really know. I was stealing cars and doing all kind of dumb stuff, but I was paying attention to that, like, man, you know what I mean? I'm getting pretty good at this track thing. I got colleges contacting my school and stuff about it. I'm like, look, if I mess up, man, I'm gonna be like my other brother, man. You know what I mean? At the time. And I'm like, so I had to make a decision. And I actually prayed on it, man. Like I prayed on it, man. Like, you know, I was like, Allah, you know, tell me what should I be doing because I'm torn. And one time, so my parents said we had a, you know, we live in Queens. We had a house. You had the regular upstairs or whatever, and then they had a basement. My Yashar's room was in the basement. He had took the basement as a room, and he would have his friends over, and they would play. Is it Risk? Risk is that war game, right? That board game that was like a war board. I forgot the name of it, but it was like a board game where you take over the world.
It's Risk.
That's Risk, right? Okay, yeah. So they would always be over playing that game or whatever.
Wow.
And so sometimes I'd be in the house and they be chilling downstairs. They having all kind of fun. They talking shit to each other, and I'm like, "You come down here and talk some shit," because my brother was always on the, you know, breaking on people, you know, ranking or signifying, whatever you want to call it. I guess it depends. We called it ranking or whatever. And growing up in my house, man, you gotta be you gotta be good at that right there because the shards will tear you to pieces. You know what I'm saying? And he'll do it in front of you. Yeah.
Wow, I
He'll
haven't
tear you to
heard
pieces,
that in
man.
a long time. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's how long ago it was. So I went down there and I was like, you know, they like, get out of here, man, because I'm younger or whatever. But even though I was younger, I had a reputation in Southside that, you know, yeah, I'm younger, but you know, I knocked your ass out. I did knock out one of his friends one time. But you know, they was older than me. I still was like, you know, nah, y'all in my house. I'm coming to crash the party type thing. So I started breaking on him because I knew he was part of the, you know, down the Israelites that be all shouting at people. So I was like, yeah, man, I saw one of y'all cats, man. Somebody came up there cursing at y'all camp and y'all jumped on her. It was an old lady and somebody came up on a horse. I was all kind of jokes or whatever. So then my brother was like, one of his friends, I don't remember his name, but I'm picturing his face. He was like, yo, well, you should come up there and check it out. You know what I mean? And my brother was like, yeah, man, you should come. He was like, yeah, you saw him. Bring him up. Well, Zoob, they was calling him Zoob at the time. Bring him up to Harlem. Just come check it out. So I was like, all right, I'll come. So like, I think that if it wasn't that week, it was not so long after that I ended up going up to One West. And when I went up there, it was Kakam that was teaching. It was on a Friday night. He would open class for Yeshaya. That I later found out that that's what he was doing. But the funny thing was, Kakam, even though he later on got reduced to a buffoon by Tazadaqyah, that's how he would treat him. He like really crushed his spirit, man. But because when he was younger, he was teaching class, and I'm sitting in there. He's going in the scriptures. He's real animated where he kind of like as he's teaching, he's acting things out. You know what I mean? And it was amazing to me because while, like I said, my oldest brother used to, teach the Bible or whatever. The way they taught it was more clinical. It was more, yeah, it was more like a church type thing. And then I come in here and they're teaching it like current events. Like they're going into current events and then bringing scriptures that coincide with it. And it just blew my mind. I was like, now see, I had not had the Quran or the Bible taught that way. I mean, where it was relevant to now, to right this moment. You know what I mean? And so that was what was different for me. Um, and yeah, it blew my mind. And I was like, shoot, I want to be able to do that. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to learn how to do that because I, my family, we don't come from a dumb, niggardly family. That's not, all my brothers and sisters went, to quote unquote college and all other stuff, my parents didn't, but literally every single one of us, including Yashar, all of them, like they,
Can I ask something real quick? Because I'm really interested in like, all right, because it seems like you said you have older brothers that could be your father.
yeah, okay.
Your age of like a father.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So my father was born in 1928. So no. All right. So when I was born, my father was in his 50s already, and so my parents had 12 kids, 6 boys and 6 girls. And so they had like a break. This between my brother Yas, the one that I'll tell you guys shot, and my next, like there's a gap between, like they had six first. Well, my father had one, and then my parents had five together. My oldest brother that I didn't really have communication with. My father was real young when he was born, but with my mother it was 11, but altogether 12. So
You
the
ever
first
met,
batch.
you ever met your grandparents?
Oh yeah, yeah. My grandparents lived into their 90s, so yeah, I knew my grandparents intimately. Like I talked to them and everything. Like I mean, they're gone now, but they passed away in the 80s.
You could literally trace your history back
Back
to
to slavery.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I knew. So my grand and my father wasn't the oldest of his brothers. So um, my grandfather, I don't know what year he was born, but I mean, he had to be his mid 20s, almost 30 by the time my father was born. So if you go back, he was born probably like 1901 or 1902, something like that. So
That's
yeah,
like
I
40,
have a direct
not even
link.
40 years removed from slavery. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, his parents were
that's
slaves.
some very rich history that's amazing to hear about. I've never heard anything like that before, personally, So that's yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask that real quick.
Yeah, so that's how. So there was like a break of 11 years between my brother Yas and my sister, my next oldest sister besides him. So it was five, and then they had six in the next batch, right?
Wow.
So and it was like I don't know, man. It's crazy the way my family dynamic is, but we had a big family. So while we did have a big family, we didn't all live in the house at the same time. Like I said, my older sisters, my older brothers, all their kids are in their 40s, just like me. So it's um, like all of them except for my sister. She's 60 now, something like that. So she got kids that they're almost 40. So, but almost all my nephews and nieces are my age. So
Yeah.
it was a weird dynamic coming up where you're the uncle of somebody that's older than you or something like that. But where was I at? Oh, so when I came in that Friday night, that first time, Kakam was teaching, and again, he was just, he was going into current events, man. It's not much different from the way people do podcasts now, if you really think about it. You know how they go into current events and commentate on it, but they were giving scripture, breaking it down and showing, how life, how the Bible is relevant. And then at around 9 or so I got there before 7, because I got there with my brother before 7, and around 9. probably, I don't know, it was, you know, there was cell phones, but I ain't had no cell phone at that time. But so it had to be around 9 or something. And Yeshaya came in. And of course, let me just set the stage. So first, you know how, have you ever been to One West?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how you come up the steps, you make the right, and then that first room is the class, and then you go down on the left, they had like an office, right?
Right. Yep.
And on the right, they had the bathroom. So of course, whenever somebody comes in of any note, you hear it from outside, from downstairs. You hear them, you can hear them, you know, saluting them or whatever. So I'm like, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's that? You know what I mean? So
Right.
you can feel the energy in the room change. You know what I mean? So I'm like of anticipation, like if I could give it a word.
Mm.
So of course, Yeshaya walks in, everybody stands up, salute, like, and I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? So he comes in, and you know, he got the Jerry curl or S curl, whatever it was going. You know, his hair was on fleek. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I heard.
What Jamie Foxx said, he had his own wind and shit. You know, so it was crazy though. I mean, just imagine somebody 15 years old and you see all these men. Yeah, it had to be around the time. I don't know what year Malcolm X. If you can look it up, came up. It was sort of like that scene where they go to get the dude out of the prison and shit, and then all the men respond to him, and the white dude said, "No more men should have all that power," or something like that. It was kind of like that. I'm like, oh, whoa, it's crazy. And then of course, you know, Yeshaya was a very animated teacher, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you're talking about performances, because that's what it is, you know, people want to say what they want. It's a performance.
It's all performative.
Performance, yeah, performance was crazy. And he's going in the scriptures. He's going into all the stuff we talking about now, like hip hop. Like, and this is rap at its height. You know, this is so he's talking about like referencing things that are current, like happening right now as we speak, and then going into the scriptures and showing you that the same type of shit relatively was happening then too. And so just it was mind blown, bro. You didn't have to say nothing else. I was hooked. I was like, yo, I done lived my whole life, well, at that time, 15 years, coming up, learning about Islam and stuff like that. And, you know,
Did you
I
find a
was
lot
like,
of similarities with like I guess it was the Nation of Islam though, right? Which is a little different from Islam.
nah. We wasn't a part of that. My father was like a independent Muslim. Yeah,
Okay.
the NOI we knew about them. My father, we never had like we respect them, but that was always a separate organization.
Yeah. Yeah. For
And
sure.
Muslims know that. Like that's a specific particular organization. They got their own rules and all that. And I've never been to anything involving them. I've only seen them on the street or whatever.
It's like
Or
a bootleg Islam. It's kind of like what we were. We were kind of like these bootleg Jews or something. I think. I don't know.
yeah, pretty much. But what I will say is that like say Malcolm X, the way that whole movement was depicted, it seemed as if this was the beginnings. It seemed like we were living in the beginnings of what that movement was, the way it was depicted in media, you know, in art and in everything. It seemed like this was the beginnings of it. So, needless to say, it was mind blowing because you know when you look at the Bible is crazy. It is. I mean, you can when you read through the events that I mean, these are people that you're reading about, right? So there's going to be a lot of parallels when you understand. They may have been riding a horse and we driving in a car and stuff like that, but they dealt with some of the same issues. And up until then, um, the Quran and even the Bible, anytime I learned about it, it just seemed abstract, real far away. You know what I mean? It didn't seem relevant, and it could have been my age too. You know what I mean? It's not just that. When you're a kid, you worried about kid stuff. You're not really so becoming a young man right at that time. You know, when at that age, you're testing out your manhood. Your voice is deep. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know about you, but you know, I was already tapping skins, you know, back like the, you know how they used to say, like getting skins. I'm already out there. So
Yeah.
feeling yourself, yeah. So the timing was just right. They, you know, they got me, man. You say they got me with that jump.
They got me coming right out of high school, and I had no prospects. I had no, like, I didn't really want to go right into college. And even though I felt like I was heading that way anyways, it just wasn't the time for it. I went straight to work. I've been working since I was 15 years old. You know, I basically was like not, you know, I knew I wasn't going into college or anything, but this thing became kind of like my education. It became my education. It became my credentials. Like, you know, anytime somebody tried to pull, you know, oh, I know this. So I went to this. I went to UCF. You know, I'll be like, well, do you know whatever the scripture? You know, I'll try to pull something that I know that they're not gonna know. You know, I'll be like, oh, you eating swine? You know, yeah, you got all that wisdom, but you still over here, damn, eating some pernil or something or some pork. I remember having conversation with friends that were educated, but you know, they would look at me like they would still be friends with me, but I would hang out with them even though I wasn't supposed to or whatever. And we would constantly argue, and it was always about something dealing with the truth, you know. And I was constantly trying to recruit my close friends. Like I felt like it was I don't know, I was like obsessed with recruiting people that were close to me, my family, my friends. And when it didn't work out, maybe we could still, you know, hang out and kind of, you know, be friends. And I would always feel guilty because they would always tell me, you know, you can't walk together. Two can't walk together unless they agree. But I always felt like it was necessary to keep those people that I loved still at arm's distance. But, you know, I didn't want to completely push them away. And if it wasn't for that, you know, I think I would have still been in that place. But it was a lot of things that led to me falling out. But looking back right now, I mean, coming in at a time when I didn't know about the history like you did, you know, I didn't know about the year 2000 prophecy that never came.
Oh.
Nobody told
So
me that.
yeah,
It took like maybe like 6 months for me to find out that was actually a thing. And I was like, what? Like it was Rashwan. Rashwan was brought out here before Yashar. He was they threw him out here in 2005, and he was dead honest. Like that, there's no lying to Rash. He loved, you know, he's just so honest that I remember he said that in class one time. He didn't have to say that. It had nothing to do with what we were teaching. Well, it kind of did, because he was saying how things change and you have to kind of go with the changes. He was trying to teach us that. And he said he'd been through all these changes. He was like, when I came in, Rashon was saying when he came in, he had to salute to Yeshaya. They did a whole salute where he was like, not Yeshaya, Masha. Masha would be a king or something in there. And yeah. You know,
so
like,
yeah, that you definitely had to do that. Yeah, that would have been right when I came in, because that was right before that split.
So how long were you in? How long were you in there for? When you think about it, you were in there for more than 20 years.
Yeah, so it would have been probably 28 years. That will equal out to 28 years.
Wow.
Because 15 to 43. So yeah, that's my whole life, man. Like my whole life. And when I think about the first splits, I was so young. It didn't really, you know, it wasn't like some kind of sign like, oh, there's a problem, because I didn't have anything to reference. You know, we was you know, I was raised as a Muslim, but we didn't belong to like any mosque. We weren't part of the um FOI or, you know, Nation Islam. We weren't part of that. So I had never experienced a religious organization. You know what I mean? We were taught at home, you know what I mean, about Islam. We were Muslims, our names and everything. My father, you know, to his credit, he did a good job of trying to give us the alternative religious, you know, education. Um, you know, I understood what being a Muslim was, and among my friends, I'll say this: it kept while I was in the street. Like, so, for example, I was in the streets or whatever, but I wasn't like robbing nobody. I never sold drugs. But I did. I mean, I used to steal cars and stuff like that. So, um, one of the things I would do was like, yo, I'm not going with my friends to go steal cars in any black or Hispanic neighborhoods because I'm like, man, I just thought about what would happen if somebody stole my father's car. Like we'd be like, I mean, we could get around, but the way I looked at it was like my father, you know, he worked hard, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't take anybody's black car. I wouldn't go into any black neighborhood. So in Jamaica, Queens, so we live right on the border of Southside Jamaica, Queens, and Ozone Park. So Ozone Park is like Italian and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
I used to be like, yo, I mean, we go get a whip, but I'm going into, I mean, we can go in Ozone Park. We can go into the Italian neighborhood to steal a car. If you're not looking to do that, then, you know.
Yeah.
And so people my friends thought I was crazy because you like, if you going into like the white neighborhood to steal cars, I was like, well, I ain't stealing it from black people. So, at the time, my logic was white people could afford it, man. They'd be all right. So
that's John Gotti's neighborhood over there.
yeah, that is John Gotti. Yeah, I didn't realize how stupid that was to be doing. I mean, obviously I didn't get killed or anything like that, but yeah, man, I would go right into me, my friend Chris, my friend JJ. We would go and we would steal cars right out of people's driveways, right out of in Ozone Park.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
I had good friends. That's crazy that you say that because that's a part of Queens that I used to actually go whenever I left Central and Western Queens. I would take the R or the G or the F to Kew Gardens, Union Turnpike, and I would take the bus. I forget that bus that goes down Lefferts. It passes down Atlantic Avenue. It goes down Rockaway, and it goes down towards the Conduit. It goes down towards like JFK and that whole area where I think the A train is even over there.
Yeah, right? A train goes too far. One of the buses that you would have taken you past. If you would have took the 7, if you take the J train, you get off at the last stop there. Yeah, go downstairs, take the 7. It takes you straight down Rockaway Boulevard through Ozone Park, which is all. Yeah, that was definitely Gotti land. Like you can go down there and.
That's like John Adams High School.
John Adams, yeah, high school's right there, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we would go. Or like behind the aqueduct.
222nd Street.
Yeah. My junior high school was 226. That was a junior high school 226.
I know that I've been there before. I've been in that area. I played basketball in that courtyard, the courts before. In 220.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. Crazy. So yeah, that was all. That was all the time. My junior high school was mostly Italian.
My
and
junior
Hispanic.
high school was Louis Armstrong, and it was 227. It was IS 227.
Oh, okay,
crazy.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we would go. I would go and do that. So I always moved around. Like I was street, but I was like conscious. Like I wouldn't start nothing with nobody. But once somebody started something, I would take that opportunity to finish it thoroughly. So,
what made you want to leave? Like, how did you end up outside of this cult, man? Like the ICGJC.
So it wasn't. It was gradual. So it isn't any one thing. It's a collection of things. When you have some intelligence, and a lot of people, I mean, some people in there are just stupid, but a lot of people, most people are genuine. Like they just don't want to be. They don't want to be living the way the world, if you will, is. A lot of people don't. And I know I was one of them. I didn't want to. I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be. Not giving a shot at doing the right thing, especially when it comes to family and stuff like that. I never wanted to be like that. And there's a major component of the ICGJC that deals with, staying loyal, being faithful to your family, taking care of your responsibilities. Those are the things that are enticing and that are good. You know what I mean? That and it was already part of my makeup. I mean, my parents, they on the block in our family. Listen, our house was like, my house coming up was like the spot that everybody that had a problem in my family would end up staying with us for some period of time or whatever, because my parents were stable, and I'm sure they had dirt that they did before, but I mean,
but
they was
they
always stable.
got some big cribs in the south side of South Jamaica, Queens.
My
wife is actually from that area. She's from the south side of Queens, but we met in Orlando actually, and she came in. I brought her into the cult, but she's from the south side of Queens, so but I know the area pretty good.
Yeah, we always had room for family, so
right.
And my father, I mean, we weren't rich or nothing like that, but my mother she never had to work. She worked sometimes, you know what I mean? But my father held it down pretty much for the most part. But that said, what made me, it was a number of things. I started seeing the inconsistencies, and it was mostly Tazadaqyah. I'm gonna tell you, I started seeing how he was dealing with people, man, and it was just,
right.
I couldn't square it. You know what I mean? Like, there would be things that he would be saying and this, that, and the other, or the way he was dealing with people, and
his behavior was a red flag.
Yeah, it just started getting too elaborate and too everything. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, this don't seem right. Like, he don't seem right.
Right.
But I would, you quiet the thought, because I'm looking at the big picture. I would be like, well, if you look at the scriptures, we've had plenty of leaders over the nation of Israel that, they did things that were wrong, but they still in that position. So you respect that, because that's the example that the Bible shows you, or at least the way we were taught. So I would quiet. I mean, there's many specific things, but I started seeing also how things were affecting my family, and I have a large family, and I started seeing how it seemed like being, what could I say? Like, it seemed like being part of this cult was like the against being able to provide for your family because of the demands on your time. It made it where, like, I've always been gainfully employed, right? So at least in Allentown, there's only like two brothers that would, for the most part, consistently gainfully employed, and that was one, me, and Thamyadawa, Dion. Because he's a really smart brother. Like, he's smart. Like, he's talented. Like, this dude could fix cars, and he's good with computers. You know what I mean? Like, he's bilingual. He knows how to code switch. He's diligent on a lot of things. I mean, he got his ways. Real arrogant, stuff like that. But that's stuff that everybody got their thing. But either way, my point is, he always knew how to make sure he was making some money. You know what I mean? Oh, and there was another brother, Kazak. He was all to him too. I ain't got him too, but he didn't have a family because he had two kids, but his wife had left early on. When I got to Allentown, because he came there, he joined the church like a little bit after me. But so his family, his wife had took his family to like upstate New York or something like that. So he was single for the most part the whole time I was in Allentown. But when I'm telling you, when I look at how I had to start trying to choose between my duties or my availability for things with the cult versus keeping a job, man, it was like, yo, man, like, I run businesses. I've been running businesses, man, since I was 19, man. I was always able to do very well in interviews, and
Right.
coming up the way I came up,
I could tell that you do good in interviews because you're doing really good tonight, my brother.
Oh yeah, it's something that it's part of. I think the way my father and my mother raised. My mother didn't allow us to speak slang in the house. She always, I mean, it was like I was being indoctrinated to be a part of a cult before I even knew it, honestly, because my mother used to have us watching
Yeah.
documentaries. If Yashar was ever on it, he would tell you, man, it was like, man, we
Yashar,
didn't know we were getting training.
Yashar was very well spoken, and he was on point when it came to the reading. I always remember that about your brother. For sure.
Well, see, my father, when we were kids, we had to read the Quran. Like the same way, like we had to take turns reading it. And then my older brother, when I'd be at his house, I had to read the Torah.
Mm,
And
nice.
I was learning Hebrew, how to read Hebrew then, like when I was a kid. But I just didn't, I was just following along, and it didn't dawn on me. Like when you were 9, 10, 11, you're not really understanding the type of education you're getting. And just on the side note, a lot of people don't know. I mean, if your children read the Bible from a young age, they learn proper English, which
Yeah.
takes you so far. Knowing how to communicate. I mean, just knowing how to communicate properly, it's a game changer. But anyway, um, so I was always gainfully employed. My parents, or like I said, all my brothers and sisters, including myself, we all went to college. Even my knuckleheaded drug dealing brother went to college. Like all of us, he went to St. John's. You know what I mean? So it was always a thing. So I was always able to get in positions, and next thing you know, I'm running the show. I'm in management, whatever. So I've always made good money, but the duties with the church, man, would be jeopardy, especially when you got to from around 2012 on. I'm gonna tell you, I'd say, yeah, from about 2012 on is where it just started getting to where like they were just tightening up things to where, man, brothers wasn't not, man, brothers was losing jobs left and right. They started making, the new rules about the Sabbath. Yeah, it was making it where unless you worked, yeah, I don't even know what kind of job you could have. I mean, you would have had to have a city job where, how people that work for the city or the state, it's like impossible to fire them. You would have had to have a job like that because, um, I've always been in retail management. So, that retail, it's the weekend. It's a weekend job. Like you make the most of your money for your business on the weekends because people are off and whatever. And they started making it where, you can't even go to work on the weekends. There's one thing, okay, let's say I make the schedule. I'm not going to work on Saturday. No problem. I got employees. They can work on a Saturday. But then you got to teach on Sunday. So now you can't work Sunday. And like you the boss, you running a business that is heavily geared towards the weekend. And now you can't be there no Saturday, no Sunday. It's like, at some point, people going to be like, hey, man, what's going on? And then, I was a bishop. So you got Tuesdays and Wednesdays where you pretty much got to be not working or trying to find a reason another excuse to not show up for work or whatever, or to take off early or whatever because you got to go up to New York every week because every week somebody had an issue, this, that, and the other. So you factor that in where I'm the breadwinner for my family, and we got bills. I got a big family. We ain't on no welfare, nothing like that. What I mean? I've never been on that. And even if I wanted to try, I always made too much to where you wouldn't be able to get anything. Even if I tried, I would get rejected. Um, but it became a thing where you can't even take care of your family, man. And then you factor in all these, just everything costs this, these garments, all these things that don't have nothing to do with the scripture. that they kept on just ratcheting and ratcheting and ratcheting. And it's like, man, yeah, this is crazy. So I'd say from about 2012 on, I'm seeing things that I'm quieting, like, yeah, nah, stay focused, this, that, and the other, making excuses for the way things are going. But if I have to be honest, I think, yeah, right around there is when a lot, and you hear brothers talking about it, and, whispers about, oh man, yeah, I gotta figure out how to, how to how to get out of work for this, get out of work for that. It would be it would be crazy. The stuff I would see with regards to brothers not working, and then you got grown ass men always borrowing money. You know what I mean? My vehicles are their vehicles because they broke or whatever. It would be, it got to be really burdensome when you think about it. But just how the level of they would be inconsiderate towards people's lives. Yeah, man, it was that. It was just the lack of care, respect of people's boundaries and all that. It just started piling up and piling up to where I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. This stuff that's going on. This is a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with following God or anything like that. The stuff they were doing. Of course, they'll make the excuse, oh yeah, brother, you just wicked, blah blah blah. I'm like, if I'm wicked, all them niggas was wicked, because I'm like, bro, I gave, I mean, I gave 28 years of my life. And when I think about the bridges that I burned, the things that I neglected, the stuff I didn't take care of, while deferring to my responsibilities there, yeah, nobody can say nothing to me about nothing. Because there's no one in there that could say, oh, I did them wrong. I took something from them. I lied to them. I mistreated them. I'm not even one of them cats where I was doing things, or power tripping, because you had a lot of that going on. I wasn't even one of them cats that was on the power tripping thing. Nobody has any legitimate stories about me abusing anything. Shoot, maybe my wife got more gripe about me not being around and stuff like that, but not no abusive things. It just wasn't my character. Yeah, I mean, it was a host of things that that made it to where I was like, yeah, this is not good. Even my brother used to. I mean, he won't tell them. I mean, he used to complain all the time about the way he was getting dealt with by Tazadaqyah in particular. Like my brother, my brother should be. He should be. I mean, based on the way he was moving early on in his life, this guy should be a millionaire, man. Honestly, I'm gonna be straight, and not like multi-millionaire, but just from making right decisions, right investments, and stuff like that. But man, this guy was living in Orlando, but was still Tazadaqyah's personal. I don't even know. Gopher. I don't even know what you call it. He was like the Farnsworth Bentley for him or something. And you got a family in Orlando, but you always up in Harlem and not getting paid. And I know this for a fact, because he was always struggling, financially. You know what I mean? Always, for one reason or another. So when I look at the way even he was getting dealt with, I'm like, man, I don't know how. I don't know how we. I don't know how we. I don't know how we allowed ourselves to stay that long. It made no sense. It really made no sense. But I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people got that got that testimony, I guess, if you will. It's crazy.
I know that when I started to mentally like leave that place, you know, I had to make sure that my whole family was like gonna be, you know, going with me, because I didn't know, like, if my wife was gonna report me for saying certain things. And all of that is the perfect elements of what describes a cult. It's like they use the power of numbers, they use the members, they use snitching and the tattle system, they call it. This is all like common things in Jim Jones, Heaven's Gate, and all these different cults. They have, like, they feel like they get closer to the leader by telling on members, you know, like they want to snitch so they could feel like, oh, look, I did this. Tazadaqyah, are you happy? Am I, you know, like, it's like that. It's so weird how
Yeah, they had that whole, especially towards the end of my time there, like the last probably like 5 years, they would, I mean, they would do this to brothers where, like I said, you can't keep a job with this tactic, telling brothers you've been summoned to council, and brothers don't even know what they did. You don't even tell them. And it's not something like where it's like it's mandatory. So you be told on a Sunday that you got to be there Tuesday night. Now you know jobs, they got your schedule already planned weeks in advance. So imagine every like twice a month or whatever, you getting summoned to council for one thing or another. And I know because I had to bring people up to council. I was I was there as a to represent them, which I did. Another thing I didn't understand. You didn't represent them. All you do is sit on a chair doing nothing. You're not really representing nobody. The person could have went up there by themselves, but of course, I had multiple vehicles, so I was always the one that had to drive them up. And I'm a bishop, so might as well take them up. Blah blah blah. But yeah, man, there was always somebody requesting counsel, some sister having to be brought to counsel for one reason or another, and they would do that whole um, just it don't even make any sense. It's deceptive. Telling somebody like they've committed some sort of offense, and they don't even know what offense they committed, but they got to go up there whole time. They don't know nothing until they get in the council and it's sprung on them what exact offense they committed. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's nonsense. They had a face when they were getting the orders, and they were getting orders that really had nothing to do with nothing. It was more ego driven type of stuff that you start looking at, man, and it's like, God, man, you're not dealing with you treating people. Yeah, it's just bad treatment, man. Brothers was abusing that tattletale. I don't even know what you want to call it. That tattletale
that
system.
whole system. But you know what I also read? Something I learned as I was studying, like, what are the elements of a cult, is that cult leaders like to keep their members on their toes, or like always in suspense. So you might get taken to counsel and you don't know what the hell you're getting taken to counsel for, and now you're scared for no reason. And you know that you didn't do anything wrong. You might start thinking maybe I did do something, and now you get scared. That's a way of them keeping you like in suspense. That's a big part of being in a cult. It's like you're constantly, you don't know what's going to happen. So now, whenever Tazadaqyah came around, now you start to act all like, oh shit. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a dictatorship, bro. It's like he's like a like Stalin, ruling with an iron fist.
Yeah, and that's if we believe what we're told about Stalin, right? So,
Yeah, Mussolini. My bad. Yeah, Mussolini was
yeah,
Iron Fist, yeah, with the and crushing the rebels. Mussolini was always he was always campaigning on, we got these enemies, these weak enemies, they're the rebels, and he had to create these enemies, so he can be the victor, he can look like he's the right one, and that's what, like, kind of where we fall, like we're these rebels that are fallouts. I get constantly called this by Hebrew Israelites, that are in other groups. They're like, oh, you're a fallout, you just fell out or whatever, So even outside of the group, it's a way to kind of it's like you're being dehumanized, to where you're not even important anymore. Like you might as well be dead. Do you even have any contact with your brother? He's still in there.
Yeah, he's still in there. I mean, he doesn't speak to me. I mean, I love my brother.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, I had a brief conversation, not conversation, but I mean, we spoke at like a family event a couple of years ago. But other than that, nah. But that's him. That ain't me. I ain't got no problem with speaking with him. I
Yeah.
used to speak with him all the time. You know what I mean? He still owe me money. You know what I mean? Not that I would need the money back. I really don't care. But I'm just saying, like, bro, you still owe me money.
It's the principle.
Nah, he could borrow. I didn't have no problem with him borrowing money. I borrowed money from him before.
I have a cousin that's like a sister. I grew up with her. We used to live together. Like how you talking about some of your family that used to live together. That we used to live together. And she's the one that really brought me in. And she's very intelligent. And she was never like in the streets like I was. I mean, and I'm not trying to say I was like, oh, some big shit. But me and my brother, we were like definitely hanging out. I remember going to Chinatown when I was like 11 years old on the train with my brother. My brother was 12 and my friends were like 12, 13. And I told my wife from Southside Jamaica, Queens, who's Haitian, who didn't grow up in the streets. They locked her down. Like she wasn't out and she didn't know that world like that. But when I told her that when I was like 10 or 11, I took a train to Chinatown on 4th of July to get fireworks. She thought that was the craziest thing in the world.
Oh yeah, we used to do that, man. We used to take the train just because. We used to get on the train and ride it all the way to the end of Far Rockaway and back just because.
Just
Or,
because.
you know what I mean? Just because, yeah.
Like have something to say, it just makes something happen, so that this is like, yeah, we used to do things like that too when we were young, just for no reason, just start some shit,
Yeah, definitely. But I know you had mentioned that they leveraged the family against you. So
Yeah.
I had have a large family of my own. And that was one of the things that kept me there for a lot of years because I was raised with my father and my mother. So I don't even know what it is to not be a part of your children's lives and stuff like that. And that was always a fear of mine of, having to not be there as a present father for my kids because, I mean, they didn't ask to be here. You know how it is I don't know if you know, but not being able to be around your kids, like to help raise them and have your influence. That's a thing. Like that's like a mark against black men and stuff like that. So I always had that fear. And you think about it, like I've seen other brothers, get put out or whatever, and man, other brothers marry women that like they put a man out, and then some other brother dealing with that guy's that guy's wife and family. Like that right there to me is another one of the things where I was like, that's nasty, man. Like I
Yeah.
know we supposed to be better than that. At least that's what we were saying we were, but we ended up doing the same sort of shit when it came to that. And I'm like, man, y'all brothers is nasty, man. Like I get it if you meet a woman, obviously she's not gonna be, you know, most women you meet are quote unquote ran through, right? But you not the first, second, third, fifth. I get it. But if you know that we were a small church relative to other quote unquote religions, right? Like
Right.
a couple thousand people, right?
Right.
So if a brother got a wife, right, and children, like for that woman to go and deal with somebody else in the same church, man, like that means that guy knows the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it'd be like that's kind of it'd be one thing if your woman meets somebody from cross town or whatever, but then this be somebody that you probably shook their hand or something at some point. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like all these women on the planet, and you had brothers that were trying to holler at a woman who had a husband that was put out. Like that to me, that was just that's dirty macking on a I don't know. It's like biblical dirty macking. I don't know what they want to call it, but to me that was nasty. And I seen
That's not supposed to be happening up in there. I've never seen that happen in Orlando. But
I seen it happen I saw it happen in Allentown more than once, man. Yeah, I seen it happen more than once, bro. And yeah, the brother tried to do that with my wife because we had a separation at one time. And yeah, man, brother in Allentown tried to holler at her on the low, like at a party at one of the events. And he don't know I knew about it, but you know, she told me. You know what I mean? And I peeped it too, but I didn't know that that's what was being said. Like what was said to me was being said. But so yeah, a lot of cats. It was dirt bags like that. um, but you know, all I can say is, man, you know, there is a thing called what goes around comes around. So hopefully, I'm sure that you know, brothers had to deal with that themselves later on. But I did see that, and it was promoted. Yeah, one brother, it was a sister who came into the church. This brother actually brought her in. He brought her into the church in Allentown, and you know, this is right around the time they said, you know, you can't deal with a sister that's in the church. You got to go to council, blah, 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 which on its face is not a bad idea. You know, you want things to be done decently and in order. You don't want people just coming in and out of the church and thinking that, you know, the sisters, you could just pray on them and all that. But in this particular case, the brother was dating the sister and brought her in, you know what I mean? So that was a little bit different, but they still told them, okay, you can't be together until you go through XYZ process that we had just started. And so they were, you know, messing around with each other before they got approval from the council. So then somebody snitched on him. I don't know who it was. Probably was the same brother who ended up dealing with the sister. But anyway, I don't remember exactly how that went down, but I know the brother got snitched on and had to go to council, and they put the brother out, let the sister stay. And then, so they had slept together, and they put the brother out, let the sister stay, and then another brother ended up getting with her and having kids and all that. And I was like, and they know each other. Like, you know, Allentown was small, right? Like the membership there was small, like 30 people tops. You know what I'm saying? And then most of the time it was way less than that. The reason why it got up in numbers was because we all started having kids. You know what I mean? It was mostly because of that. And my family was the largest. So just imagine. So we had, hold on, how many brothers? Excuse me. So we had Abad Kara, Zion, Thamyadawa, Nathan, myself. We had Mahalamad. Later on, we had Dawiyad, Kazak. So that's 8 brothers. And Nathan's brother would be there off and on, like because of where he lived at. He lived up in the Poconos, right? So that's 9. And then later on, we had this other brother who was from New York, but he lived in the Poconos. And he's still in there. Rakal Kalmat. So that's like 10 brothers. Now we all had families or whatever. So one of those, so we would have had 11, but Kazak's brother is the one who brought the sister in and then got put out. They never let this brother back in. It was crazy. It was mind boggling. So we would have had like 11 men in Allentown, and they were not all in at the same time. You know what I mean? When I came out there, it was like four of us. You know what I mean? It was Abakara, Zion, Nathan, me, and Thamyadawa wasn't there at the time. He was in Boston because he was there. And then when I came and actually moved there, he was gone for some reason. I don't know. He was AWOL or whatever. So really 5 brothers, but 4 for a bunch of years. And then Thamyad came back and it was like 5. And then later brothers were added in. So very small, intimate setting all the time. Everybody knew each other. Like everybody's been in each other's house. Everybody's kids are like family and this, that, and the other. And you're going to have this brother get with this woman. You know what I'm saying? To me, I saw that, and I saw that get allowed. And that was one of the that was one of the exploding red flags that I was like, yo, what the hell is going on here? This
That's
is
see, that's interesting to hear because I think when people get asked, yo, why did you leave? What happened? I think that we don't really even understand, and sometimes it's the most simplest answer. It might not be, oh, because of the breakdown and this, because later on I started realizing these breakdowns are messed up. Later on, I started realizing that, but there be little things that happen, just like what you mentioned, that really make you think, man. Why is this happening in here? This is supposed to be a sanctified place. And shit like this is not supposed to be happening. Even in the streets, they have a code. Even amongst my friends who don't even believe in the Bible, we had a code. You don't mess around with my ex, bro. You just don't do that. You don't do
nope.
that. We're not gonna
Nah,
be
you don't do that. You don't do that. I mean, it's something that just messing with somebody that got a man in general,
right.
um, for my whole life has always been a thing where I purposefully, I mean, I've had many different times I've had opportunities to mess with a female, and you feel like, oh, in the streets we would say, yo, I missed out on a lot of, tail because of that. I mean, as a man, you say missed out on, but honestly, you just wasn't down with messing with somebody else's girl. But I always made it a point, even even as a teenager, without understanding fully, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to mess with nobody's girl. Obviously, any girl you meet, it's your turn. It's not yours, right? But if I know the person, like, or if I know that you are currently dealing with somebody, I always was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. There's other women who ain't attached. You know what I mean? So to know a brother's government name and shared food with a brother, like you know what I'm saying, like held
Right.
a brother's feet while you was doing sit ups and stuff like that. To go and deal with the same woman he damn slept with, to me, I'm like, yeah, this is some dirt bag. Even when they were allowing that sort of thing, to me, for you as a man to be okay with that, you're a dirt bag. I don't care what nobody says, you're a dirt bag. And only way I would see myself even considering that was to get, if I was to get back at a dude for hollering at my wife. You know what I mean? I could see. I'd be like, yeah, all right, now you see how I feel, bro. You know what I mean? Other than that, I couldn't see if a girl says she got a man. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm okay. No problem.
I don't know if you know this brother right here. He got some history. Russell Lewis. I don't know his name, but he's from Baltimore. I didn't know his Hebrew name.
I probably know him. I mean, I knew everybody, but
Yeah,
yeah, brothers, Hebrew names and stuff like that. I mean, from 15 to 43, brother. I met everybody. I don't know.
brother, put your name in the chat. State your name, gangster. This brother right here, you definitely know him. I didn't know him in the church personally, but I definitely seen him like 100 times because
Mm,
I was one of them cats in Orlando. I'll make it up every month. We were going every month to New York City, man. Sometimes I would fly and stay in Queens, you know,
mm.
and just take the train to Harlem, and brothers be all damn smelling like garbage, taking that 16, 18, 20-hour trip sometimes, depending on how many people went. If we went 16, if we got one time we got the 18 passenger van, a few times we got the 18 passenger van. Man, we made it up in like 19, 20 hours. We were late as hell. Your shark got destroyed, man. He would always get just destroyed, bro. Like, I've never seen a person ever in my life get humiliated as much as your brother did, bro. I hate to say it like that, but it's
Yeah, man, he would take that stuff from
like
Tazadaqyah like you wouldn't believe, bro.
it was like a game to them too, because Yashar was already he's not arguing, and they just keep going, and they want to break your spirit. They do that shit on
Yeah,
purpose, man.
me and him were not the same. I never got berated like that. Never,
Yeah.
never.
I, I
And
think I
people
would
thought I would snap on them, but I listen. I wasn't going to snap on nobody,
yeah.
but people got the impression that I might snap on them. I
I wouldn't
never.
I wouldn't have I wouldn't have snapped on nobody in Orlando. I love them brothers, but I probably would have definitely I would have taken that as I was gonna say tooken fucking the Tazadaqyah is still. I got to get Tazadaqyah, you know, fucking language that I always used to listen to over and over. But you know, I would have probably not maybe come back after that. You know, it's just the humiliation.
I mean, shoot, Tazadaqyah got at me on a few different occasions and counsel and stuff like that. But only reason I would say that I wasn't bothered by that is because there were judgment calls that I made that I legitimately could say, okay, yeah, I could have did things differently with regards to my family and stuff like that. But the type of stuff my brother was dealing with, it wouldn't even be stuff that he did specifically wrong. It'd be like, yo, under the circumstances, you got two choices. He picked the better of the two under the circumstances, and he would get destroyed for it.
I was just gonna say, it wasn't like he was like when I seen him get berated, it was like things that were he couldn't even control. They do that on purpose. They do that to confuse you, because then you're like, what the hell did I do wrong? And now you're constantly on edge, man. That I think that's what they did, like with certain people. And I didn't want to be like, I saw Yashar and I was like, this is scary, man. Like, I don't want to be like that. That like
Tazadaqyah, listen, he used to treat him like shit. And my brother was loyal to this cat. And I'm telling you, I remember it was one of the Passovers, man. And Tazadaqyah called, this was in Jersey, Atlantic City area. That one, when we was going over there.
Right.
That convention center, because that one had the breakout rooms or whatever, and Tazadaqyah had like a breakout room all decked out for his area.
That's like not far from like Seaside Heights, in Jersey, South. That's like South Jersey, I think, right? Or no,
yeah.
South.
I don't know what part it is, but I know it's basically Atlantic City.
Right.
But it was at the Atlantic City Convention Center. So he had called me. It was Karatazar Gabarba, the one that boxed. That had called me into that particular breakout room that Tazadaqyah had, where he had the whole setup for himself, where he would, be in doing portions of the Passover, because I was always on NIS, and either I was just in NIS or appointment for Allentown. The pick the year would be whatever position I held. But anyway, I think this was one of the years I know I was there, like this particular time was one of the times I was there on duty for like 28 hours or something like that. But anyway, I got called into one of the breakout rooms, and Tazadaqyah started interrogating me about, if my brother had spoken against him and all this other stuff. And I'm like my brother never spoke against him. He would just be like, telling me, yeah, man, I'm catching it, for whatever. Not Tazadaqyah this. He was never on no shit like that. So, but he definitely would be talking about, he'd be catching hell, Yashar. I mean, this guy was, he'd be doing all the driving, all of everything, catching hell or whatever. But I remember this had to be, so what, I've been out of there 5 years now? Has it been 5 years? 2019 and now? Shit, well, now it's 6 years, shit. So this would have been probably 2017. Yeah, because my son Aaron, he was in high school already, because he was playing ball and this, that, and the other, and they had the whole basketball league. And anyway, yeah, man, he was like, I'm thinking my son was in trouble for something, right? Because they had told bring me and my son, we waiting outside the room, and then Karatazar Gabarba comes out and says, all right, come on. And he tells my son, just wait outside. So I go in there, man, and he was like, yeah, everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything okay. He was like, yeah, your son was looking at me funny or whatever. And the funny thing was, my son had, when I got out of that room, I'll just jump ahead real quick. And I said, hey, man, was you looking at, Tazadaqyah like funny or whatever? He was like, he's like, oh no, when he came through, he had that garment, yo. It was crazy. You know, like my son looked up to him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm like, here he is asking it while my son was looking at him funny. I'm like, yo, why do you? This dude is like 15 years old. Like, I don't even know why you care, but
Right. The
I
hell?
checked with my son, and my son like had a smile, like happy, like he lit up about when I asked him um about he's like, nah, he had it because he had these garments and by with the Hebrew writing down with the Hebrew glyphs down the back of it or whatever. And I'm gonna front, it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my son, when I asked him, he was like, nah, the garment has a joint out. I'm like, he lit up talking about it. I was like, yeah, this guy was basically about ready. If my son, I don't know if I said the wrong thing, I guess. He was ready to ride on my son. Like, God damn. But
Oh,
while I was
hell
in there, let me get back to
yeah.
he started interrogating me about what Yashar might have said to me about him. And I'm like thinking in my mind, like, yo, Yashar don't talk to me like about no intimate nothing, you know what I mean? Stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like it's obvious he was getting damn dealt with incorrectly. He was definitely being abused or whatever. But
Right.
he would complain, or if anything, yeah, complain. I call it. It was complain. He would just complain about lack of rest and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, something gotta get, man. I gotta get some rest, man. You know, I'm like, yo, why don't you ask for a vacation, bro? You be up here in New York, you be up here in New York and New Jersey, and you live in Orlando, bro. I'm like, I know he would be up months at a time, weeks at a time. And this, that,
Right.
and the other. He's like, nah, I can't, you know. I'm like, why? I mean, it's mad brothers. He's like,
But
yeah,
but
bro.
you pretty much saw Tazadaqyah since he was 17 years old. You saw him grow up into
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
that's
when
crazy.
I came in there, he was just in the Hebrew Academy. Always you could always see that he had something about him, like, you know,
Right.
gravitas or whatever.
Okay.
And so I was there for a few years, from like 15 to like 18. And then I went to school and I would go like every once in a while. Because back then
It,
you
it,
didn't
it,
have to be in the ranks.
it's a whole
Yeah,
different world too. If I could say, as a
totally different.
person from Queens, when you go to Harlem from Queens, it's like, what the hell's going
Totally
on?
different.
Yeah,
Totally
it's a
different.
different world. And imagine people that was coming up from Orlando and shit, and just hitting straight Harlem, But yeah, it was, from what I've seen. I can only speak from 2004. I actually attended classes in One West it had to be 2005, and then in 2007, around 2007, they had 1941. They still had 1941 at that whole time, but they were fixing it because
Yeah,
it was
yeah, because they had a fire in there. And they had uh the second level, but not the third level. That's what it was.
right.
Because Al Sharpton's Action Network. Is it Action Network?
The
National Action Network
National Action Network, yeah,
was
NAN.
on the third floor
Oh, I know
there,
that.
which is
I,
crazy.
I actually know that there's a nonprofit organization that started at 1941 Madison Avenue before the ICGJC. I know that.
Mhm. Yeah, so
I'm not trying to
that
I'm not trying to spin any conspiracy theories, but I find it funny. I find it funny
they
that
got the same location.
some of the worst fucking voices in the black community, which I believe Al Sharpton is one, and the ICGJC are right there. I just can't help but feel that there's something weird going on in that place. But I know there's evidence that the FBI has infiltrated black groups in Harlem since the 1920s.
Yeah, no, they've always had their hand in, and this would be no different. Anybody that thinks that that's not the case, you're lying to yourself.
Yes.
This company, this country, just on some political ish, because I mean, you may
Where
have
where
heard,
did where
I'm
did
deeply into it.
do you remember, like, 1998? You remember 1998? Bill Clinton was president, right? And then Bill Clinton left the White House. Where was the first place he went to?
He went to Harlem. He got an office in Harlem, and that's when they did the regentrification of Harlem. All those buildings or whatever they got taken over, and the city was selling them for $1. At least that's what the headline was. But the truth behind that, because I know a couple of people that tried to get houses in Harlem, you couldn't get no goddamn house in Harlem for $1. First off, you had to buy a certain number of them, and then you had to have a certain net worth, a certain credit rating, and it had to be a business. And then you had to have you already had to have a development plan for the buildings that you bought for $1. So they broadcast that you could buy buildings for $1, but it was really just so it could look like they were not gentrifying when they actually were gentrifying. Because you had to get like 10 of them, so that cost you $10. But then you had to have, I think the net worth was minimum was like 500,000 net worth. You had to have with a certain credit rating, this, that, and the other. Like who black has that? You know what I mean? So
right.
Ended up where a bunch of who's ended up buying the rest of Harlem. You know what I'm saying? And building things back up and selling it to big box companies. That's why all up and down 125th Street, you saw your Targets and all this other stuff coming there where it wasn't before, off of that Bill Clinton move. And he got paid by a bunch of companies to do that. But anyway,
yeah.
Speaking of your Al Sharptons of the world, one of the things I think that the ICGJC could have did was learn from your TD Jakes of the world and stuff like that, because even if you were faking it, right, there was a lot of people that's in the ICGJC that are sincerely trying to follow God, right? I will never not say that, because I know brothers. A lot of brothers was there because they sincerely just wanted. They didn't want to be. They could have been doing other stuff. It wasn't like it was just a bunch of dumb brothers in there. Like I talked about them Yadawa. No, Zion ain't no dumb. He's not no dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like these are brothers. I'm telling you straight up and down. Even though Zion is white,
smart brothers. Some of the best people I've ever met in my life, I actually met in the ICGJC. I'm still friends with them today. Brooklyn Outlaws one. There's a few brothers. Like
they're gonna see this, so I gotta say this. Even though Zion, because I'm gonna say it every time. Even though Zion, your father's white and Italian, bro, you're a white boy, so you shouldn't be allowed to be in there. But I love you. You know what I'm saying? I know better now. Before I didn't know better. I know better. I don't care what your race is. But that place cares. You've been masquerading as an Israelite all this time. Your mother is one of our people according to the teaching, but you, sir, you are not. You are white. But even with that said, that's a good brother. Like he is a smart, good brother. He's a good father.
I had to own up to the fact that I'm white, bro. Like I was lied. I was lied to, bro. Like black people lied to Hispanics in New York City, man. They make us think that we're black.
Some are, some aren't. I mean, if you look at it, look, Afro Latinos, man, y'all can't front, but some of y'all are white.
That's crazy how they were able to flip that, because you could just be a little black, and that doesn't. I mean, that think about me saying, "Yo, I'm black, yo," and just coming around saying I'm black. Like that shit don't even sound right. I'm gonna be
I don't blame Hispanic people for doing that, because unless they declare in amongst their coworkers and stuff like that they are not down with the whole white program. If they don't do that, then white people accept them in as among them. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's still a separation, but they treat Hispanic people better than they treat black people.
You remember Rachel Dozell or whatever the hell?
Yeah.
That to me is an example of how if it's really that hard to be a black man in this country, why would white people want to front like they're black?
People got mental problems. If you look at a guy like, speaking of Zion, and Zion, I always got jokes that I don't think I'm singling you out. because I'm being mean spirited. You know, I always got jokes. I will tear y'all apart with the jokes and break on y'all, but it's still all love. Because
All love.
again, I know better now. But that said, I'm gonna lay into you right now. Just think about how it must be growing up in the Bronx and your family is Hispanic, but your father's a little Italian guy, Luigi or whatever. Your father's a Luigi. You know what I'm saying? They made a whole video game about this cat, man. Mario Brothers is your father, my man. And but you grow up, you know, your mom's is Hispanic, you know, your mother's Puerto Rican and shit, so you grow up in the Puerto Rican culture, etc.
Right.
And then you come into this church, you come into this, and your leader, your leader is a black African or something. You know what I mean? He literally looks like a black African. He's like blackity black of the blackest. Even his eyes were like black, like my man. And then you're able to front a little bit because you know you grew up in the Hispanic Puerto Rican culture, but your last name is Catone, which is decidedly Italian. Your name is Ramos Catone, and you know you're Hispanic. The first one is the mother's last name. The last one is the father's last name. So if you're Ramos Catone, Catone is your father, right? And Catone, that's Italian. Plus, I saw his father. That's a white dude. He was in Allentown one time outside the church. You met.
They're gonna mention that scripture about that that one
Yeah,
Israelite
yeah.
Italian
The
band.
centurion. Yeah, okay, yeah. So his father was the centurion or whatever. Centurion. Okay.
Right.
But you gotta live your whole life saying, and you look, I mean, listen, when he cut his hair for real, yeah, he looked just like this dude looked like Ted from fucking Accounting when he cut his hair, man, because he had the long hair, he used to keep it, but he couldn't keep it because he started losing his hair. But then he got the corporate cut, man, and is unless this guy, unless you know him, bro, you'd have been like, hey, hey, what it is, and, you know, you start grabbing your joint and stuff and talking like that. But that's got to be like a mind, you know, fuck for you because you out there, and he's a very he copied Tazadaqyah's teaching style, and he was very good at it. I'll give him all props. He was very good at teaching and this, that, and the other. But just imagine you doing all that, and you know fully well that everybody that you talk about, the Edomites, this, that, your father, not this isn't like some obscure history. It is no, your pops, bro. Your pops is Italian, and I know what I'm talking about because he worked for me. Okay, he worked for me, bro. I'm the one who handled your paperwork, your social, all of that other stuff, bro. I hired you. I gave you a job. You know, I know your name, your full name, Catone, bro. So I know what it is.
Is that one T or two T's?
I think it's two T's if I remember correctly.
Because Capone is one P.
No, yeah, but this is I forgot the spelling.
Okay.
I wouldn't even know where I would go to check it. But yeah, I mean, you can look him up. You know, honestly, you can look him up. But yeah, his last name was Catone. Like I did his paperwork.
You could look up the origin of a last name. So let me share this. Let me share this screen. Why not?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Catone origin, right? So it says Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Let me blow it up.
But you never know. He could be Sicilian, like from the Moors, from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's that's southern. That's the tip of it looks like a boot that's kicking. You know, Sicily's an island that it looks like the boot of Italy is kicking something like into the Mediterranean. It literally looks like that when you look at it, you know, like from a map.
Yeah, listen, Zion is Italian. He's Italian. So all y'all brothers in there in Allentown, y'all know. Tazadaqyah, real smart brother, man. You know.
Yeah.
Michael,
they even have
Ramos Catone.
They even have like a, what do you call that? That symbolism, whatever. I forget what they call that. The arm of coats type thing.
The coat of arms. Yeah.
Coat of arms. Arm of coats.
Catone had the coat of arms?
Right. I'm backwards
over
here.
Listen, his children and everything look like 100% white kids when they was little, man. It'd be weird.
It's gonna say, okay, Italian, but Norman Anglo-Saxon. Anglo-Saxon, they say it meant the angelic sons of Isaac. That's not what that actually means. That's not even what that actually means, yo. If we could look up the etymology of the word Anglo-Saxon, and it comes from Saxon actually is like a dagger, it's like a knife. When you look it up, the actual etymology, and it doesn't even, I think it comes from Ireland, but anyways, the Italian version derived from personal name Catone from the Roman statesman Cato. Wow,
Look at that. So that's extra strength white.
That shit is mad Norse. It says Norse roots related to the word for cat. Cat. Catón. Un gato. In Spanish, it's with a G. But yeah, a gato. Yeah, oh, that makes sense. Shit.
It makes sense. It makes sense. So for the people in Allentown, Dawayad, who another good brother, them Yad Dawad, Kazak. Hey, listen, man. I hate to burst your bubble, man. You can say whatever you want about me. Y'all know y'all ain't never known me to not be educated. You can't say that. And guess what? I ain't never owed none of y'all nothing. Every last one of y'all, I have, maybe except for Kazak. Every last one of y'all, I done paid y'all rent before or gave y'all a vehicle, this, that, and the other. Don't front. Okay, I'm just calling what it is. I'm saying the truth. I dare you to lie. I dare you to lie. So one thing you also have not known me to be.
That's something that I could also say for myself, that I never had to ask none of these dudes for money that were actually coming to me. And then after, like, when I pretty much stopped dealing with these cats, actually, they're the ones that stopped dealing with me. So they stopped talking to me. I could have still remained friends with these guys, but because it's the whole order.
I don't know beef with none of them. No beef. I've given people apartments. I've let people's family live with me in my house because my rent was always paid, right? Now my mortgage always paid. I've given people vehicles more than one for free, whole vehicles. Okay.
Was that a common? Did you like notice that a lot of people were broke up in there besides you?
Well, yeah, I mean, and it wasn't. And let me just say this: Yad Dawa, Tazadaqyah, Dawayad, Zion. Those guys, they're not stupid. They work. You know what I mean? It was like their duties in the church that would cause them to lose jobs. It wasn't like Nathan. Nathan would just do stupid stuff, and I mean he was being lazy, bro. That's all I can say, man. Not him. He was being lazy, not taking care of business. But for them, no, I ain't gonna lie on them either. Nah, these are some brothers that take care of their family and all that. If they lost a job and all that, it was always tied to duties in the church. But that said, even Abad Karai, who was always the chief priest over Allentown and all that. Yo, this guy is like a 1,000 vote nerd. He taught himself all the coding and all that. He would walk around with the thick books or whatever, read through the joint, not have to go to school past stage.
In New York City. In New York City.
Yeah, he was the chief priest over New York, and then he was an apostle. I mean, over.
Do you think that people from New York City are on a higher level somehow? Like, I don't, not higher level, but like, I don't know, like, what education?
I think
like,
the Northeast in general, because let me just not, because there's a lot of people. I'm talking about outside the church. You're just talking about black people in general.
Well, let me say this before I'll let you get the floor. I just want to say this. I think this will help. When I was 17 years old, right, I'm finishing my junior year of high school, right? So this was 2001. This was 3 months before or 4 months before 9/11. It was like May 2001, and I'm going to night school, Washington Irving on 14th Street, and I'm going to school at Newtown High School in Queens. And I'm doing bad. My uncle, who was in the military, who lived in Orlando, found out I'm doing bad, and he called me and asked me if I want to come to Orlando and live with him, and he'll help me graduate. And I came out to Orlando for 10 months. I started school in August of 2001. In September 11, 2001, I'm in school. It was a Tuesday, I think, and I'm in economics. And my economics teacher's just watching the TV like this. And I come in and I'm like, what the hell? He's just watching the TV. He's not even looking at the kids walking in the class, which he always does. He always looks at us and greets everybody. He's looking at the TV, and I'm like, what's going on? And I thought it was a movie. Anyways, when I left high school at 17 years old, and they put me in high school in Florida at 18 or 17 years old. I was 18 actually by the time I started. I was already learning things in New York City that they were trying to teach me in Florida. Like we were already, like, I already was ahead of this shit. So I killed it in my senior year in Florida. I was a straight A student. I was a Golden Eagle. They gave me a Golden Eagle award and shit. I had all A's my first fucking half of the year. And then the second half, I had almost all A's and 1 B. And I graduated on time. My uncle helped me out. It was like my uncle really and he's conservative as fuck. You know, he's military. And he showed me something that I didn't realize it until later on after the cult. Because after he did that, I joined the cult almost right away. You know, and which is a little conservative when you look at it. They're they're anti-gay, they're anti-LGBT, and they're super extreme, ultra anti-LGBT, anti-abortion at no cost. You do abortion, but they also align with like some left-leaning causes. And sometimes you'll talk about politics with them, and they sound like a Democrat, and it's like, bro, you don't even follow politics. All you know is some straight Harlem hood shit. Why do you sound like a Democrat and you don't know nothing? You don't know nothing about politics, and you sound just like a Democrat sometimes. Like that's how I hear.
Well, that's the Northeast indoctrination in general. When it comes to that liberal stuff, I had to break my mind out of that to really start looking at things. Now, I don't go as far as some people where they just say, okay, well, black people is the whole trope of, black people commit most of the crime. I'm gonna have to do a show one time where we break down the actual statistics. It's a lie. We don't.
Not the crime. No, not the crime. I would say the murders.
Yeah. So it even that is skewed. It's when they so.
Okay.
So
is that because of the exonerations though? Is that because there's people that get exonerated and then?
No. So first off, where I have a problem is when you attach it to a race, because the same percentages you can see in countries where there aren't even any black people. It's a class thing. Right now, black people have been designated in this country to be the lowest class. That government picks winners, right? And what that means is the government, or whoever's the shadow government, whatever you want to say, whoever's running the government, because there's a hand behind the government that actually makes decisions or whatever. But government picks winners. What do I mean by that? In like the 1930s, starting in the 1930s in the United States government decided that they wanted to make a middle class, right? So they implemented the GI Bill and stuff like that for a lot of people coming home from World War II and everything, to where it created a whole class of Americans who were able to afford more things. Now, black people got excluded from that. That was legislative assault on black people. So while we were heavily represented in the military, our men, right? We were in the military heavy. Like all my uncles, all my grandfathers, like his whole generation, my father's generation, like all of them in the military. I mean, honestly, it should be mandatory. I think any country that is worth anything, it should be mandatory that the men know how to fight and war and handle weaponry and all that. It should be mandatory military service. But that said, that's just my opinion. But so you have to have in capitalism, you have to have a loser. We were the obvious losers, meaning we were designated to be the obvious losers. White people wasn't gonna make themselves be the losers. They running shit. So it was only white and black people in this country to any significant number. So we became a permanent underclass. And crime and poverty go hand in hand, because you can see that in Ireland. You see it in India, where you got the Brahmin, you got the Brahmins, and then you got the untouchables, right? So the crime, the ones that get prosecuted, the crimes that deal with hand to hand, person to person disputes and stuff like that, even with places where you can't, like in England and Europe, you can't even carry a weapon. But what are the people who are in the underclass doing? They're stabbing each other and stuff like
Stabbing each
that,
other and raping.
right?
A lot of
So
rapes and sexual assaults too.
yeah, when you start saying that black people, right, in this country is unique because you have a separate race that you can point this and aim this stuff at. So
Right.
it's easy to look at coincidence and then say that, okay, this is something that you can assign to black people, when really it's a class thing. It's not a race thing. It's a class thing.
Right.
So, and
Same.
then when you really get down to numbers, you can play games with the statistics by giving percentages versus raw numbers. The raw
Right.
numbers, we
Exactly.
do not commit more crimes than any kind of crime you can think of. No, not even abortion, because even when it comes to abortion, we don't abort as many kids, but the percentages that we abort is blowing everybody out the water,
That's where
right? Even when it comes to voting.
that's where people constantly get tripped up, because because listen, if somebody says, yo, because I've gotten the percentages the other way around too. Because when sometimes if I mention, okay, there's higher crime or where there's higher murders in the black community, I like to mention that because I grew up always thinking that white people are constantly like there's this like narrative that you always hear about Marilyn Manson, it's Ted Bundy. You always hear about the white serial killers, and you never hear about the black serial killers. So it's like they actually make you think in the media opposite of what people are saying, that, oh, they always want to show black people. They actually, the show Cops was even protested because they were showing too many black instances in Tampa, Florida. Tampa's crazy as hell. It's like 38% black people, and they're doing like 60 to 70% of like certain crimes. It's not every crime, because like suicides is overwhelmingly white people.
Child molestation,
Child molestation.
stuff like that. Yeah, these things are going to be heavily represented, if even with the percentages in the white community. So black people
Native
do
Americans,
crimes.
like when it comes to domestic violence, Native Americans, I think, are like the highest. So it's like we also have to look at like circumstances. There's always going to be something that is going to skew a number in a certain direction, and it's always good to be educated about that. I just love to know those percentages and those numbers. I always throw those out because it gives me some type of anchor or balance to look at, and just like when the rebuttal for why there's so many black people in prison, then the rebuttal is, well, there's also 50% of the exonerations are black people. But then when you look at how many exonerations have there been in the last 4 decades, there have been like 1,800 and almost like 1,900. So that's not even 2,000 exonerations in 4 decades, 40 years.
Well, those were the ones that are successful. There are plenty that they basically say, fuck you, we don't care, whatever. So
there's plenty of people that are in prison that are innocent,
oh yeah, there's a lot of people that they're there
yeah,
and they're either overcharged or overpunished. The judgment was heavier than it needed to be for whatever the crime was. And then there's the people who were innocent. And this is the premise. Whenever somebody starts talking statistics and stuff,
yeah,
I always approach it with, okay, if you got the mic, I know you're lying. Now the question is, why are you lying? I always like to look to see, well, why are you lying? Who's getting paid? What's the benefit? Because I know that this whole country has been run as a psyop. You know what I mean? Like you can never lose sight of these facts, because they all come out later on when you look at you look at all of the black organizations and movements that were infiltrated and steered into a certain direction by our government, right?
Right.
And they always steer it towards collapsing. Where in contrast, they also infiltrate white organizations and all that, right? But Italians were known for a good 30 years, 40 years as being the number one criminal, but they were allowed to become white and then become organized. They never let black people's crime be organized. They always taking it down. They always doing that. And I'm not saying that crime should be allowed, but if you look at what the Italians did and then what they became, well, that's the ultimate. All criminals like that are doing, it comes from. Well, let me not say all. Majority of crime syndicates, when you look at the history, it came from being impoverished, etc. And so they organize so that they can get ahead. And then each one of them, whether it be the Jewish gangs, whether it be the Irish, or the Italians, and this, that, and the other, they all were allowed to transform.
You
their,
also know that a lot of Irish, there was a lot of like inside hiring. Like if you could refer somebody to be a firefighter, you realize how a lot of firefighters are Irish and Italian and police officers.
It's welfare for them. That was their welfare. That's what they were allowed to do. And government, like I said, picks winners. So it's just like we can skip them. Just look at New York City. We're from New York. So I grew up, right? And so from the time I was a child to the time I was a teenager, all of the social services, whether it be bus driving, all that other stuff, was mostly black. But from the time I say finished elementary school to the time I got out of high school, all of a sudden it's all Caribbean. Now, the only way that can happen is if all the American blacks just decided they don't want to be civil servants, or the West Indians, the Caribbean people that got in there, started discriminating against the American blacks, which is why you didn't see them heavily represented. By the time you got out of high school, most of transit and all that was Caribbean. Now, if you go back now, most of the transit is East Indian. So
there's a lot of Guyanese in Queens. There's a lot of Trinis in Queens. But there's more Dominicans than anything. And we started flooding New York City after the Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans came in like in the 60s and 70s, and then Dominicans started coming in.
Well, they started in the 50s, but yeah. Prior to 1965, and I'm telling you, you can check this. Caribbean immigration was to the right of the decimal. The explosion happened after 1965, and you didn't see them coming in heavy numbers until the 70s, because you can change something on the books, but it takes around 10 years for it to take hold. Right. So I mentioned this before. That's why you go into New York and you have people in their 50s and 60s, they still got heavy accents because most of them did not grow up in this country. And I don't care where they're from. You pick an island, you pick wherever they're from, they did not grow up here. So the government picked those people to come to New York to gentrify the black people out of position, because all of the only way that black people were able to move into like middle class life after the civil rights movement was through civil servants jobs. And now you can actually track it by the decade, even to where I'd say the 80s, all black. The 90s, it became Caribbean. The 2000s now on, it changed to now the Hindus, the Indians, Pakistani, and all that. So if you next time you take a trip to New York, I'm telling you, everywhere you go, the police officer, it started out with the meter maids being mad, mostly Indian, Hindu, Pakistani, whatever. They're all the same. They just one is Muslim and one is, Buddhist or whatever the hell they are.
But look what happened in the United States in 1954. So we're talking about Puerto Ricans in New York City. Look what happened here. In 1954, on March 1st, while members gathered on the House floor for an upcoming vote, 3 men and 1 woman, these are Puerto Ricans, entered the visitors' gallery above the chamber and quietly took their seats. All 4 belonged to the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party, and only hours earlier had traveled from New York City to Washington, D.C. The United States had annexed Puerto Rico in 1898, and the island's relationship with the federal government had long been a point of contention. Some Puerto Ricans sought to maintain their relationship with the mainland, and others, like the 4 visitors in the house that day, argued for an independent Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans were like already here in the 50s. This story is here because this happened on federal property, just like the Capitol, just like January 6th. And this is some of the photos right here of that day. But you know, the history of America is amazing, you know, and they don't talk about this stuff. They, you know, like this is something that Puerto Ricans did that you could say it's horrible. This is terrorism, pretty much. This is attempted assassination. I forget.
Yeah, but you got to look at who funds them. They get funded. So non-white, quote unquote, white immigration that has exploded from the '60s on. That's a liberal movement, and the whole purpose of that is to leverage power so that they have more power than the right wing in this country. I mean, the warring factions are those two for the most part, and they play us in the center. But it seems like, just on another note, it seems like they all agree that no matter what, that the Black American needs to be at the bottom of that the bottom of that totem pole, and we are never, for some reason, never allowed to organize. Puerto Ricans are able to organize. Dominicans are able to organize. Even with the they let the Dominicans get the bodegas, right? All through the '90s, and now they've moved the Dominicans out, and they got the Hindus, the Indians, and the Pakistani, and what Middle Eastern cats getting that. But let me tell you what the Dominicans used to do, because in my neighborhood in Jamaica, Queens, that whole area was mostly Black, right? And I'm saying Black American. I'm not talking about Black Caribbean. All of the corner stores, right, that they now call bodegas, were owned by Black people. There was like one of the families, the Porters, that had like a bunch of stores in Freddy's over there in Jamaica, Queens. He had a convenience store and a supermarket. And what they would do is they would join together, and then they'd have sort of like what they did with the redlining, where they'd have what do they call that? It's a pact, but it's another word for it, where they all had an agreement to basically keep Black people from buying homes or whatever. Well, they would do that with the businesses, because the Koreans do the same thing, and the Asians do the same thing. You got to be a member of their club, but the membership is secretive, but they allow you to buy all of your food and all other stuff that you're gonna sell at a certain discounted rate. But they stopped letting the Black people be a part of those distribution cliques. So they couldn't buy your ketchup, everything, your convenience needs that you have that you would need to put on the shelves. You're not able to purchase them at the same rate as everyone else. They get a preferred pricing. And they would do that, and that would end up putting them out of business because, well, they'd be able to sell it for less than you. So all the Black businesses, by the time the end of the '90s came, all of the Black-owned stores and stuff like that. I mean, Black American, not Black, not Caribbean. They were having to sell their businesses because they can't sell it for the price that the Hispanics were selling it at. And so then next thing you know, in a place like Jamaica, Queens, that was historically Black, like, you know what I mean? And Jamaica, Queens was an affluent Black area, you know what I mean? Like middle class, which is super affluent for Black people, even though it's not for white people, but for Black people, that's like amazing. You know what I mean? Like, to be rich in a Black neighborhood, you only need to make you need to be making like around 150,000 or more. That's it. When that ain't no money in any other community. But those businesses were put out of business because government was picking them to fail. And yeah, they got together. These Caribbean, these immigrant group got together, and they already know off the bat. Well, we gonna make sure we doing better than them. You know what I mean? And they never do fair business with the black people. They always look to take them out, and that's how you end up with black people on the bottom so much. And then what happens when you're on the bottom? Since we were referencing crime, well, you're going to see crimes like drug selling and this, that, and the other, drug dealing on a level that you won't see in other communities because they are allowed to be organized. They're allowed to organize, whereas black people are not allowed to organize. Because once you organize, then what are you going to do? You're going to start. You're going to get a system in place of doing things. And once you have a system in place, well, then the next move that you're going to do with that is start moving it towards legitimacy, which then takes you into an upper level of money making. Now you're part of the fabric of the community, and you don't have to do the crime. But again, black crime has never been allowed to organize, and so you will never see it rise above the
Well,
low level where it gets
it a
policed.
little bit organized? Wasn't it a little bit organized though, with Bumpy Knuckles and Harlem? And then they
With
get a
Bumpy
little.
Johnson, yeah, they did. But then, when cocaine came on the scene, they they moved from heroin or added cocaine, and it became a bigger drug or whatever. The Italians, um, pretty much along with the government, broke the back of Black American organized crime.
You
Actually,
I look at like what comes in through the border there in Mexico. There's a lot of drugs coming in from Mexican cartels that are flooding the hood, you know? Like we can't forget that shit either.
no, not at all.
Yeah, there's a brother on here right now, Warrior Survivors. What's good? This brother's in Miami right now. I'm gonna be in Miami next week, by the way. I'll be out there
Okay.
next week, brother. What's good?
I can't hear him if he's talking.
I can't hear you. You gotta unmute yourself. Yeah. And he got some history. His cousin is one of the Antichrist unit cats that be there with Basil and all them cats. I
Oh,
can't.
okay, is that the one with all the hair?
He's having the same issue with the muting. I don't know
I-
what it.
I- Is that the one that be trying to make himself look like the what's that the Nanamaki whatever Anunnaki?
Yeah, right. That's what
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's the one that's too sexy for his hair to be. Yeah, he be glistening.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
know what you're talking
That's
about. I
cousin.
know what you're
Hey,
talking about.
I think I'm gonna have to kick you off, and then you got to come back. So come back, brother. I gotta do this. It says kick Warrior Survivors off.
Yeah,
It's
that's the brother that be trying to look like the Anunnaki and all that. Front like his hair is still black. You know, he's usually just for men. Ain't that against the rules?
it's just for men, right? Because the
Yeah.
Bible says that you're not supposed to turn the hair white or something. Or actually, it was posed that you can't do it as if it's impossible. But guess what? They're actually doing it right now.
Yeah, they got.
Yo, I hear you.
Oh, you hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm having a get together. This is like the third annual brother get together with the survivors of
You said the survivors.
in Jesus Christ. No matter where we at spiritually and what we think, we still find a way to get together and we have a good time together. So before I put anybody else on this live, I don't know where you guys picked up or where I'm picking up from or where you guys left off at, but
Yo,
I'm willing to pick up wherever the hell y'all was at. But let me ask real quick. So you see me from here. Everybody's behind this camera. So I got somebody to the left of me. I got somebody to the 12th of me, 1 o'clock of me, and I have somebody to the 6th of me. Is anybody all right with being on camera right now? Anybody?
everybody's twisted.
San Miguel, what was your Hebrew name?
No, I know.
War Makapash, brother. War Makapash.
Not everybody want to know.
I know War Makapash, but
I
So
was,
you know
I was their
my word to come.
teacher. I was their teacher, bro. They remember me.
So would you think that my Waskasha would be all right for being on his live?
Mawakusha?
My Waskasha, would you be all right with having being on?
I'd be all right.
What would you think that he'd be all right with him being on this live? Yes,
course.
absolutely.
Bro, do he remember me?
I'm pretty sure he does.
Listen.
All right. Wait, he ain't say nothing yet. Give me a second, brother.
You talking about Wilney? Wilney?
All right. So number one, the first. I'm going on.
It don't matter.
All right.
Holding me up.
The first question, I need an answer to the first question before I pass it.
Okay.
Are you okay with Mawaz Quashah being?
Mawaz is going to be okay with being on your live.
I'm pretty sure you heard him.
That hard.
Yes. Yes, that's
Okay.
Wilney.
Yes. All right. That's all he needs. Wait. Who else is here? Who you think that's here?
Probably Makwa Tazapawan, whatever the hell.
Makwa is supposed to be here. Makwa, yeah, that's a great guess.
Really great guess.
That's a really great guess.
He's in Albania.
And that boy doing his thing. No, you wouldn't even guess. I don't even think. But we talked about it. From Miami.
They grew up together. Y'all didn't know.
Start with a CH.
I was gonna say Labo and the Posh.
Labo and the Posh was here last time. I couldn't get him here, but no. Somebody knew. No?
Orlando.
No. All right. Katayan. Look at him.
With the gold teeth.
So you wouldn't have a problem with him being on here, right?
Why would I? Hell no.
Okay, he said, why would he? All right, so we have Kadashtrika and we have Rapayala. Rapayala, you don't have no problem, right? All right. I just gotta ask around the room. So I'm gonna pass all the way around.
Yeah. You taught the class too.
No.
Yes, you did. When I was
I orientated you. Okay, that's all I did.
you used to put the gold on and sit up there and talk.
Bro,
I know this, brother.
you
I don't
haven't
know what I got myself into. They just had passed me the phone. I just said, you know what? Ask San Miguel, does he think I'll be okay on this? If he say yes, then I'm yes. Cool.
He's here next week, by the way.
You here next week?
Yeah.
That's the
Oh, I
insurance,
shouldn't even
brother.
put that out. I'm sorry. My bad.
Shit,
I mean, your call's here next week. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I know I'm interrupting y'all live. I have no idea what's going on. I apologize. Let me listen to you guys.
That's better than the insurance.
Hold on. They're a little loud, so I'm gonna remove myself so I can, properly discuss it because I know this is a live channel, and I know everybody should hear me properly. Okay, boom. They're gonna take me to a different place where there is lighting and there's no noise.
Or in the front.
All right, so we're good.
appreciate it, man.
All right, so we're good. There's no noise whatsoever, man.
No. Stop trying to act like I haven't been texting you and calling you, and you haven't responded to my phone call. You must have changed your number, right?
Moi?
You must have changed your number. You moved to Miami. You live in the big life.
Permiso, señor. Yo no sé qué tú hablabas ahora. No entiendo.
Yo, man, this is
just for the audience that's watching, in case you guys don't know, me and San Miguel have a very strong relationship for a long time, since 2004. We've been through
Levi,
the
brother.
Simeon and Levi. We ran with that, and we've been tight since then, through the ups and the downs, through every situation we've been through in this situation. we've been very tight, and we still that way now. That's why I can actually talk to him the way I'm talking to him now.
Brother, I'm gonna be out there next week. Just so you know, I'm gonna be down there next week. So you already know.
I just heard. I wanted to confirm with it, but I just heard that. I'm excited. You know, I'm down here.
Yo.
I'm sorry. What's up, Aaron Wahab? What's going on, brother?
You the insurance guy, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm
Yo,
the insurance guy.
if you need to get insurance, this is the guy right here. If you're in Miami, if you're in South Florida, in Florida, North, maybe you're in Jacksonville. This guy right here, man.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the insurance guy.
He speaks very well English. He might speak Creole. He'll speak some hood, and he speaks Spanish.
I do.
He only learned.
Yo entiendo mucho español, pero no hablando mucho.
Ahora, pero mí, sí, señor, un momento. Yo no sé mucho español, pero yo entiendo un poquito. I learned a lot of that from San Miguel, believe it or not.
Yeah, right. You was always just trying to get the Spanish girls. That's
yeah, you already know. But it was you too on the chat line. This is the Dominican Papi on the Spanish.
Hey, I'm gonna take you off the channel right now. You're being banned. You're kicked off. You're banned from San Miguel TV now.
Oh man, it's good to see y'all, brothers, man. It really is, man. I was just talking to Lobo, man. Like, you know what? He was telling me you're gonna be here next week, and I've been here, and we haven't seen each other in a while. So I'm really looking forward to that, man. Really am.
You know, we were talking about, like, this is Yashar's younger brother who came in 1991.
91?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know his details about what year he came. I just knew it was Yashar's brother, but that's good to hear and learn. 91.
But this place now, like this, the title of this live is The Lost and Forgotten Black Hebrew Israelite Group. Like, do you even think about the ICGJC as does it even bother you? Are you worried that you might get killed in some type of crazy revengeful way because you shamed the name of the Lord in a way, if you think about it, according to them? You shamed Yahweh. Does it even bother you, bro? Like, you know, I've forgotten about this shit. Like, I'm on to other things and other topics. There's way more important things to be talking about. But it serves as a really good example of like a life lesson. Like, I've met some of the best people in my life, and you're one of a perfect example, bro. I'm so glad that you're on right now, man. A perfect example of a person that I met in a horrible place that it was a great person, man. That I've, you know, if it like, bro, we would have fun, you know, and make jokes and laugh, and meanwhile we're being scammed at the same time.
But
we're having fun, bro. Like, this shit was crazy. This shit was crazy.
I mean,
we were handing out flyers, trying to talk to these Spanish women out here and stuff, bro. You know what we were.
To answer your question about like how I deal with it or how I think about it, or do I think about it? I'll say it in this way. I don't think about the ICGJC on a daily or on a norm. Like, it doesn't just. There's not what consumes my mind. What consumes my mind is just making sure I'm getting ahead and I'm preparing for the future. And I'm, you know, things I wasn't doing in the ICGJC. That's what consumes my mind right now. You know, multiple sources of income, making sure my children have a future that is set, and make sure I have an escape plan just in case things go awry. But I'll say this. It's not that I think about the ICGJC specifically, but I do think about the trauma. You know, sometimes trauma finds a way to introduce itself into your current situation without you. Well, I'm sorry, excuse me. Correct. Thank you for that. Reintroduce itself into your situation without you even thinking about it. It's like you didn't even summons it or bring it up, but because the trauma is there, although you think you're doing things to just not worry about it, you don't think about it. It's just certain aspects of life that kind of trigger it. Those are the things I would say that are the times that I think about the ICGJC because of the trauma that they caused me. So naturally it triggers it. Outside of the trauma that I went through, I wouldn't say I think about the ICGJC. I think about the current events and what's going on in America, where I live, what I'm going to do for my future, where I'm going to go outside of this country. I think about current events. You know, there's a lot of things going on that you kind of can't ignore when you just look at mainstream media or the news. So my mind is kind of focused on my current surroundings and what's going on rather than the ICGJC. Because before, and I'm sorry for being long-winded here, but before, once you left, it's like, well, let me see what's going on with this. Or how can I say this to get more people to understand this? At this point in life right now, I'm not on that. I'm really secure in my life, and I'm just really focused on just getting ahead, getting better.
Yeah, man, that's bro. Thank you for being long-winded because you said it. I can't say it that eloquently right now because I'm just I'm not gonna say it, but you said it best, bro. I'll just leave it at that.
I feel you. I know you well, and so I feel you.
I've actually been doing a lot better, just so you know. But
that's good, man. That's good. It's good to see that the channel is going on. I was just talking about you to Lobo. You know, me and Lobo, we had a conversation. He's like, he's gonna be here. Me, I was like, I gave you a little bit about it, but when I heard that you were coming here, I was like, yo, that's my bro. I don't think you understand. No, that's my bro. He's worried about the channel where he's a little controversial, and some people may not take it the way other people take it. Man, I'm like, hey, listen, that's my bro. I don't even care. Whenever he gets down here, we have to link, man. We must.
Yeah, we have to, man. And my channel, I talk about things that I feel passionate about, and it's like people might misinterpret my angle or my reason. That happens constantly because of the talking points that are commonly used. There's like certain talking points that are misused and things, all I care about the truth, and we got pushed into a position where we were like constantly put on the spotlight, bro. We had to we were on microphones on Americana and Texas Avenue in the hood with loudspeakers connected to a running car, so we could fucking be on the microphone and tell people how they're not supposed to be selling drugs, and people are selling drugs right across the street from us.
Right. Or a generator going to what we were connected to. We had to figure out some way, either a generator or a car or something plugged where we could find some sort of electricity to conduct this.
Y'all got to use mics and stuff, man. We ain't had none of that in Allentown. All this, you look at the Charlie Kirk of the world, and they talk about debate league. We've been doing that for a long time.
No, I get you, Aaron. At first, and you probably can relate to this. At first, in the beginning, we didn't have no sound system or mics. We had Tazapawan. You probably remember Tazapawan. But yeah, Tazapawan, he was sent down to Florida, and we just went out there with just signs downtown. I think that was the very first place we ever went, was downtown Orlando. Went out there with the signs where Jesus is not white, and the 12 tribes, and we were just yelling and screaming at the top of our lungs on a podium across from a bus station. Now, Ward Magapas, matter of fact, I think he made the news. I think he made. You should remember. As soon as I said this, you should remember now. You probably had a picture in the news. You and Lakadal, I think. But yeah, that was the first time we ever did it. We didn't have a mic system. We just had Tazapawan. He came from headquarters, or Minnesota. And he's like, no, we're going to go out there. We're going to prophesy in the name of the Lord. And he just went out there and did it.
I never saw myself in the news, but thank you for putting that out there, San Miguel TV.
Yeah, you were in the news. You were there. I remember.
I think I remember something in a local paper.
The Links bus station.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. That's the old Links bus station, right? Or is that the new?
Yes, the older one.
Yeah, because that was a spot. That's crazy. I've been in Orlando for a minute, bro. I'm a Floridian now at this point. I love Queens, and I'll go back. I went back. I was there for July 4th. I was there. I actually went out there on the 5th. I went to Flushing. Queens is a little more calm, but man, I can't live nowhere near the Manhattan, and I can't work there. I don't know how people survive there.
I never liked the city. I never liked the city, but I don't know. I'm 48. I'm still
feces.
New York.
I've never seen human feces just laid out on the corner somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still New York 100%. My thought process, everything, I can't shake it. It's like I lived in Pennsylvania for 20 years. Now I'm in Baltimore, and I'm like,
Wow.
I still, even when I was in Allentown, I still felt like, this is a temporary thing. I'll be back in New York at some point in time. Now I don't think I'll ever get in. Now I got property and shit. So I don't know if I'll ever get back to New York, but I still think New York. Like, I don't feel like I live here. You know what I mean? I don't feel like Maryland is my home, man. I don't feel at home here. I always felt at home. I always feel at home when I go to New York.
The
I don't feel like
Baltimore
that.
Baltimore is the politicians in Baltimore are crooked as hell, man.
Yeah, I go to work, I go home. I don't know nothing. I don't know anything about Maryland, Baltimore politics. I mean,
The whole state,
but I know it's
the education, the amount of money that was put into the education system, and when you see where they're at, it's like something is wrong in Baltimore.
definitely wrong. They got a weird system.
It's constantly one of the worst like cities when it comes to crime and murders. Is Baltimore? It comes up every year consistently. This is the type of stuff that's controversial that I talk about, Wilney. You know, I'm just telling you like what's a fact. And that shit is controversial. I get it, but it's a fucking fact. How are we ever going to
I get it too. I get the controversialness of it.
How are we ever going to fix the issues if we can't talk about the issues?
I agree. Like, how can you address a problem if you don't address the problem? I get that.
One of the great things that Aaron was talking about was reparations, and he made a great argument that I want him to. Can you? Why do you think it's a right for reparations to be paid right now? I mean, I agree that reparations, first of all, not only should have reparations been paid as soon as slavery was abolished, it should have been paid right away. At the same way that they paid the slave owners because they lost, you know, some type of crop, like as if they lost, like, you know, because they have insurance for when they lose crops or when certain things happen. It's like as if they lost some property, you know, so now they got to compensate them for the property. But
so that was a legal issue. Even compensating the South for that because we were legally designated as property. It makes sense that under those rules that they would have to be compensated and you would have to pay them reparations because they were following the law, right? According to them, they were following the law. The only difference is, you know, the United States decided to change the law, right? So it would be the same as if, I mean, with any other industry, you know, if you have a company that, I don't know, has buses or whatever, right? And then you say, "Now we're going back to blimps," and it's the government that decided that you can't use buses anymore. Everybody got to use blimps. Well, then the bus companies or the bus lines would petition the government to be like, "All right, listen, you changed the industry. We could still do this, but you guys changed it and basically put us out of business, and you're using the might of the government to do that, right? So we need to be compensated." So from a legal perspective, I can understand why they would do that, but I think they used the law to continue something that is obviously evil. Now that said, reparations is a legal issue. This is money that is owed. It's not a handout. It's not a handout to all black people. All black people are not, you know, wouldn't even be eligible. For example, if you're from Haiti, reparations has nothing to do with a Haitian American. Nothing. And so therefore a Haitian American should never really be opening their mouth for or against it, one way or the other. It's not their issue.
I kind of beg to differ there.
Wait, hold on. I did
I'm
the
gonna tell
same
you
thing.
why.
Hold on. I did the same thing.
I'm gonna tell you why.
And he's making a great point. I'm telling you, let him finish.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because reparations was for slavery in the United States. This is not an emotional appeal. So if for example, most Haitian Americans were not even here before 1965. In fact, the only reason that you'd find any significant number of Haitian Americans
and I'm saying Haitian American. I can say the same thing about Dominican. I can say the same thing about Mexican American. You name it. It wouldn't matter. But prior to 1965, Haitian immigration was to the right of the decimal. So Haitians don't have a claim for reparations as it pertains to American slavery. Now, Haitians definitely have a claim for reparations on the world stage when it comes to all of the countries, because all of the countries conspire to make Haiti where it owes whatever.
Especially France.
Especially France, number one. France being number one, but France was able to do what they did because of Britain and the United States. But that said, that would be something that they would have to appeal to the UN about. What Black Americans, and I'm talking about Black Americans whose roots go back to slavery, their legal claim for reparations is because the government actually put it in writing that we were owed reparations, and then Lincoln was killed and they reneged on it. They gave our reparations to the slave holders. So when I say that that a Haitian American has nothing to do with it, it's not to be disrespectful or to offend your sensibilities. It's because if we're speaking legally, you would not be able to speak in any court on any level as it pertains to our reparations. That's what I mean by that.
I appreciate you. No, I really appreciate
about France in Haiti. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say anything legally about it. I can tell you my opinion. I could take one side or the other, but really, what difference would it make my opinion about what France owes Haiti? Right?
No, I agree with you. Thank you for the insight, because prior to that information, I didn't have that knowledge, but now that you mention it, so now it's directed towards, the descendants of the African Americans. It makes sense. What I was leading to, which I think you corrected already, was I was going to say, some of the Haitians ended up being over here in the United States, but you said there was already a decree for those African Americans to get reparations. So you kind of covered what I was going to go into anyway. So I pretty much don't have nothing else to say. I pretty much understood.
Yeah. Can I read
but
this?
What they systemically do, though, is they put people in place.
Wait. I kind of have to get off. I'm burning in here. That's why you see my skin shining. I'm in this closet because they're very loud. I'm suffocating. I'm going to have to get off. We'll talk later.
Cool. That's cool. I'm gonna kick you off, but y'all can come back. I'm not gonna ban you, okay?
All right,
but
no pressure.
Yeah, but don't push your luck. You might get banned from San Miguel TV.
Fuck San Miguel. I'm sorry.
I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
I love y'all, man. Peace. All right. I don't even know how to hang up.
I got you. All right. So this is actually but you wanted to say something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that what they have been doing to keep on basically deflecting so that this doesn't have to be addressed is that they get people in position to basically, I mean, I'll use this word, it's not the proper one, but it effectively is it's a legislative filibuster so that nothing ever moves. Even things like that, what was it, the act of, what is it, that act, that the Reparations Act that they kept on saying was supposed to be for the study of reparations? Why am I forgetting the name of this shit? Something 40. Anyway, they say it's for the study of reparations when you really don't have to study it. Any damn eighth grader could understand this concept. You were supposed to pay it, you didn't.
HR 40.
HR 40, yeah. HR 40 is not for reparations. It's for the study of whether or not we're owed reparations, when that was already determined that we're owed reparations. It was already determined that reparations are owed. You got a bunch, and then so what they systemically do is they put do nothing organizations in place so that nothing ever moves, like the Congressional Black Caucus, which is filled with people from that are not, Native Americans, meaning Native Black Americans, right? The whole Congressional Black Caucus, when you look at them, you got Africans, you got South American blacks and Caribbean blacks and people from the Virgin Islands. All these people are either first or second generation immigrants that are members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and they don't. When you look at their charter, which is it's supposed to be for
Black Americans, but all of their major issues are, you know, things like DEI, um, uh, trans rights, you know, Hispanic rights, everything else besides
Yeah,
things that are beneficial to Black Americans.
women's rights,
Women's rights,
and
you know,
and
and
then,
then
and then who does affirmative action benefit more than white women?
white women, number one, and
I don't,
then
I
and
don't,
then
I don't agree. I mean, white men really still rules the world. I mean, white men are the still to this day are the ones that's fighting for transgender rights and all this and all that. And even still, even
what do you
within the
disagree
gay
with? I
community,
missed
you
that.
can see the
You
white
said you
men
don't
are
agree.
even still within their own community. They'll say that the white man still
Hold
has
on. Can you
overpowered
clarify
them
what you don't
in
agree with?
the work industry. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, you can't hear me.
no, I
You
cannot.
said.
Sorry, I just heard you.
Oh, okay. No, I said what you said. You don't agree. What were you not agreeing with? I didn't hear it.
With the white, I think it was like the white women being in power. If I'm not mistaken, that's what I thought. I
No,
said
no,
Oh no,
no,
no.
no,
We were
I
talking about
disagree with that because
the number
no,
yeah, I'm
one
sorry.
no,
beneficiary
no.
of affirmative action.
Right.
Oh, and Burnham, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah,
We know that men is in charge, but yeah, no, we was just talking about as it
That's what
pertains
I
to
thought. That's what
affirmative.
you were saying. My bad. All right.
Oh, okay.
there was
I just got in. I don't remember what was the last thing that my brother just left off on. So
there was a
we're
civil
just chiming in.
there was like a legal act, the Civil Rights Act, and then after that came the affirmative action, and I think even DEI is an extension of affirmative action. I don't know, but affirmative action, I know that legal basis or whatever, it's actually like he said, he was saying it's for like pro LGBT shit. It protects women, and it actually was the beginning of pushing women into the workforce and all of that, right? Women's rights, women's lib came right after that.
I was
And
like, that's a long time ago, though.
yeah,
I mean, that was what,
not even,
1930s, right?
nah, not even. This is
Right after the depression.
1956. This is like
Nah.
this is like 1956 to 1965.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
then in 1970s you had a big push where women were
But yeah,
not
that was also with the gay men, the gay
where,
white men. That was
well
during
women,
the peace. Remember the
women
hippies.
hold on 1 second. Women weren't having as much babies as they used to, and then you had more women going out into the workforce, and then the nuclear family started kind of deteriorating a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. That I think, I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know, but
Yeah, that's true. So it's a multi-pronged attack on the family. And they used Black Americans as a test case, and then they broaden it to everybody else. So what you do is you break down the family by destabilizing the men in the family. When you destabilize the men, you replace their position with government and also employment. Not that all women should not work, but if you put the women in competition with the men, well, then if the man's job was one of the major part of his job was to provide, and you destabilize his ability to provide, well, then the women don't need the men, and if the women don't need the men, well, then the men won't be there, and then the children get raised by the government, and when the children get raised by the government, well, now you see what you got. Um, you know what I'm
right.
saying? This is the result. But
This
there's no
Yeah,
way
but
in the world
that's a little
this
bit of a
cannot be the.
compound situation, and that all varies family to family. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is the
yeah,
type
we
of
all
stuff that I
know.
be talking.
I'm sorry, I missed you.
If you look at what USA Today says about like who benefits more, this is USA Today. White women benefit most from affirmative action. So why do they oppose it? This is on
Okay,
USA
I see
Today,
where you're at.
January
I see where
June
you guys are.
29th, 2023. Yeah,
Affirmative.
sometimes the shit that I be talking about, bro, like this shit is controversial But it helps explain what the fuck we're dealing with in this country right now, because this shit is not so easy and it's not so black and white like how we were taught in the cult. The cult put us in a real easy box, and we put everybody else in a box. And shit is not that simple. There's gray areas, bro. They telling us that we black. They were telling me that I'm black, bro. Like, come on, how black am I, bro? Like, how can I just say I'm black? Why do it's like an erasure of
But what's white though? But what's white?
DNA and white fucking.
I mean, I'm just saying that they
identity though. It's like, why can't?
No, I know, but San Miguel, but you're Dominican, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? So you already know how Dominicans already are. If you even if you look up their whole history, they try to whitewash their own history. They try to make themselves seem whiter than they actually was. So what are we talking about here?
Let me tell you my DNA results.
I'm just trying to understand that.
Results.
Okay, I got you.
I'm 66%. I'm 66% European. That's my DNA results, right?
All right.
You look at my father. I'm white, bro. I'm more white than I am black. But what you're doing is something. There's something called the one drop rule. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not, but I have something to say before you even go further. So how would you explain me and my cousin? Me and my cousin come from the same cloth. My family is actually dark, black, and he came out black. His mom is actually my skin color. Wait, all the kids that came through my father are this color. They're fair skinned. They're actually very bright.
What's his Hebrew name? What's your cousin's Hebrew name?
Shalamah. You know who Shalamah is. We look just alike. How you don't think that he's black? He's literally considered black in Costa Rica. He's considered black. My dad is considered black.
That's the same racism that you're talking and speaking against. You're saying,
but no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm asking you because we're talking about skin color, right?
Well, what I'm saying is that he's not.
So what is white is what I'm asking, because you're saying there's 63%.
I'm not just because I'm saying that he's not just black. I'm not saying that he's just white. I'm saying that he's
right. No, I understand, but I'm trying to understand this 63% when I'm asking what you're calling white. Are you saying the skin, or you're actually talking about the origin?
It's a European origin.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
So I'm talking about Spanish, Portuguese. That's majority of what we are.
Right.
If you look at the average Dominican, Puerto Rican, and Cuban, I mean, this is outside of Mexicans.
You will be black. Majority of you will be black.
No. The majority.
What you mean?
The majority of them are
what
white.
do you mean? Yeah, if you're pale skin. If you're pale skin. I live in South Florida, so what are you talking about? The pale skin ones, yes. The pale skin ones, yeah. I agree with you. The dark skin ones, you don't know the dark skin ones like I know. I grew up with them.
We're talking about percentages. So
so what percentage are you talking about? That's what I'm saying.
The percentage.
Okay, so a mix. There's a mix.
Yeah, there's a percentage. There's a percentage called mix. This is a little complex, so we have to slow down, bro.
That's what I wanted. I'm there where you're at. I understand.
Okay, so there's 85% of Dominicans are considered mixed. So the mixed group, which in America 7% of the population is considered mixed. 7% of the population in America is considered mixed population. In the Dominican Republic, it's like
it's the other way around.
It might be a little bit more than 7. It might be like 10. I might be a little bit off. But in
depending on where.
In Dominican Republic, it's 85% are mixed. Within those 85%, within that pie of 100, which is now we have 100% again, right? Within that 85%, if we separate those mixed people, those people commonly have like a 60 to 55% European to 30% African to 30 to 35% African, and then 10 to 15% indigenous. That's what's common. And we can look that shit up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm okay with that.
This is what I do. I look this shit up. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not lying. This is
But
what
that doesn't take away from the people that are indigenous that has some skin color. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that the indigenous there was white. Like, there's no way for you to tell me that.
I can't even make a claim to indigenous because I was born in New York
Because it
City.
wasn't there. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
Remember
That's
the winners write the history.
Yeah, that's why race is such a stupid concept sometimes to argue about, because it's like, I get it, like I don't like throwing out those statistics, but when we start to talk about what white people did and with this, it's like, well, we could talk about what we all do, bro. It's like, what's more important to me is like that's why we forgot about the ICGJC. That's why I forgot about
I actually did. Yeah, I did. But
like,
what we're having here today is just that this place brought us together. And even still, amongst us, we all still have our own different beliefs. Some of us are atheists. Some people don't believe in nothing. I'm very cautious about everybody who I talk to. I keep that in mind. But I'm starting to feel like, you know what everybody have in common with me is that they fuck with me. If I fuck with you, I fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, hey, you might think that way, I might think my way, and I keep it that way, and I keep it moving. But there's some things that I held on to, and there's some things that I don't believe no more. And that's just me. And I keep that to myself because there's no battle for me. Like, at the end of the day,
you're always going to
know
be
what
my
I'm saying?
brother. At the end of the day, you're always going to be my brother.
You're right. Exactly. You're the one that made your decision, right? At the end of the day, I know I'm going to be neutral. So if there's a higher power, if it was Yahweh, if he called me into an elect for that period of time, I'm gonna take that and run with it.
It
You know
might
what I'm
be it might be difficult for people like us three, because all three of us have family members that are still in there.
Mine is still in there.
Yeah,
mine is still in there.
His brother,
my wife and kids right now throwing up hot palaus right now as we speak. Right now as we speak. If I'm lying, I'm flying. I hear my cousin, the one I ain't talked to for years, man. Man, I'm telling some straight up shit. I hear them every week. How about that?
Damn.
Yeah. Bomb, boom, douche. Yeah. I hear them motherfuckers every week. They call me an antichrist. I never spoke against them. But just because I'm just that close to that person.
You actually believe in Jesus Christ?
Yeah, I still believe in that. Yeah. I believe in Jesus Christ is black and all that. Yeah. I ain't got nothing to say about that.
I have come to the conclusion that I will never
I'm good
again
with that.
be so
I'm good with saying that. Yeah.
as to believe that I know definitively what God's mind is.
He definitely wasn't white. He definitely wasn't white. But what? Can you say that again? My bad. Hold on.
No, I said
oh, my bad. I don't know what you're talking to.
Yeah, I said I've come to the conclusion that I no longer and I will never stand in front of anybody and be so arrogant as to believe that I know exactly what is the mind of God, right? And that I have the authority to tell somebody anything, because far as I can see, a lot of people are wrong about a lot of things, and I don't think that you have to be righteous to be right about things. There's people that's going to be, even if you look at the history in the Bible, you got the men and women that were written about. They all did good and they all did bad too. So that whole writing people off and this, that, and the other, or even being overly trusting of people, I don't think is wise. But there are some, regardless of what belief system you have, there are consistent things about how you treat people and how you that you ought to treat people the way you want to be treated. And I do believe in that, and I do believe that the Bible is the Word of God. I just think that the problem comes in when people start trying to dictate to others when, why, and how they should be serving God.
My brothers, yo, who else is over there, man? Because you were
Who you want to talk to? I'll put them on.
You said Katayan is there, man. I want to talk to that brother because I think last time we spoke, he was probably still in that joint, and we probably didn't end off on good terms. I don't know. But either way,
Oh,
whatever, man. I mean, we did this live. I did this live because the brother Aaron over here, man, has such great stories and rich history, man. And
yeah.
he just represents this culture that we kind of attached ourselves to, where we're like Hispanics. We're more like we got some European in us, bro. Like, you know, and we try to make these arguments, and we kind of latched on to these beliefs that we still, it's like it's agreeable because it's like, you know, these are just the right things to stand behind. You know, you gotta, you know, be against any oppression, anything that's evil and negative, and
So
you know,
like my thing, not to cut you off, but with the Hispanics, you already know that there's you know what I mean, there's undertones of um racism, not even racism, prejudices. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Not racism,
Colorism.
prejudice. You know what I mean?
Colorism.
If you're darker, if you have a darker complexion, you're negro. Usted es eso. You know what I mean? That's what you is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, here, before I became a part of this church and knowing about skin color, because guess what? I was the fairest one out the bunch. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that I was white. Nowhere near. But let a nigga call me a cracker, bitch. You gonna have to fight, nigga. What's up, bitch? Bitch, I'm just like one of y'all. What the fuck you talking about?
have you
So
been
for
called?
me, for me,
Have you been called a cracker before by black people?
yes, absolutely. I actually not too long ago got called a cracker, actually.
Yo, my mother's
But
father's
my
white.
thing is like, nigga, once
Yeah.
now you call me a cracker now and then I'm like, fuck, nigga, you can't whoop me though,
But
pussy
then,
nigga, pussy nigga,
there's
pussy nigga. Now
also,
you got a cracker calling you a pussy nigga. Now you like, oh, whoa, this nigga, no, yeah, okay. So now you
but then
understand
you
where I come from.
also,
See, some things ain't got to be spoken of. Some things. That's what I'm
how do
gonna say.
you,
We don't have to go about
how do
skin color.
you also, but you also get the pass to say the N word too. But you know,
But why? But why?
I don't
Because I
know.
It's
got
not
big
a
lips.
pass.
I
It's
got
not a
big lips.
pass.
It's not a pass. My bad.
Bro, listen.
Not a pass.
If,
I never
if
had a
y'all saw
problem.
my other brother,
I
if
never
y'all
had a
saw my
problem.
other brother, he look like
Never,
you, Sammy. My brother look like you.
never. I ain't never had a problem.
I
Never.
definitely speak just like this brother speaks. I mean, he's from Miami, so he got his
I
own
ain't
different
never,
style.
never.
I
I got
love
a
it
bunch
though.
of niggas. How about that? How
Yeah,
about y'all? If I show you, got a bunch
bro,
of niggas over there.
ain't
Do they
nothing
feel some
wrong with
type
it.
of way? No,
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 that's
no.
right.
And my brothers, because they know. And this is one of this is like. Let me just make a point here. When I came into the church, the number one thing they told me to say, man, because it was such a slang in our conversation was like nigga this and nigga that. I said, bro, don't call me no nigga. I'm a prince of the most high. I'm a king of the most high, brother. Call me a brother, right?
Mm,
Right? Soon as I leave, guess what? Nigga,
that nigga,
that
that nigga,
nigga there.
that
That's when
nigga
I
rap.
knew. That's when I knew. That's when I felt that hurt me worse than a cracker telling me a nigga, calling me a nigga. When a brother that I
That
used to be,
wasn't even
and
about
mind
you.
you, I didn't leave on some fuck shit. I left on my own because I had my own shit going on. I left and didn't come back. They calling me a nigga. You fucking nigga. Man, that shit hurt more than a cracker will ever call me a nigga, man.
Damn, son, your own
Just to
family.
show
That's why
you.
your own brothers that you love, like these supposed to be the
Love.
people.
Love.
Come on,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
And then the people that they calling the devil don't even look at you twice. But these motherfuckers, they're supposed to be your
I'm
brother.
telling you,
They
man.
just like us, and we spent all this time together. We put in work, but you know, I understand it because I knew what was going to be. I remember when I pulled up on the ICGJC, Mawaf Kashar was still a believer, and he said, "What you thought was going to happen?" You know, like you know, like it was going to be kumbaya, bro. Like that cat didn't even want to talk to me.
Nah, I
I was
know.
like, "Wow,
Me and my
bro,
wife
you don't
could
want to
have
talk
our
to
own
me, bro?"
situation too.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Bro, you don't want to talk to me right now." And eventually, look at him now. Now he's on my live. That place,
Bro, me too. Me too.
Orlando ICGJC and Miami ICGJC fell apart, bro. That place crumbled down, bro. Look at all these
Listen,
brothers. Look at all these
me and
brothers.
Mawasquashaw, we were so close. One time, Mawasquashaw is right beside me.
Right.
Mawasquashaw was like, man, fuck you too. You a fuck nigga, this and that.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, boy, you already know what time it is with me. After you know, shit blew over and he was out the church, he came to me, he was like, you know what, Blobo? Man, you know what? I got respect for you. You kept it real with me.
That's what.
Hey, bitch, you already know. I'm the same person that I was in the church. I'm the same person out the church. If you want it, you can get it. Don't flip on me. I'm the same nigga in there. I'm the same nigga out. And I think that, you know, I think that's my calling. You know what I'm saying? My brothers still fuck with me. They might not fuck with each other, but they fuck with me though. Fuck y'all. Y'all want to be evil? Be evil. When the Lord says, man, I'm going to rise you up, hey, it's time to go. Got to do what I got to do. Or if not, if I die and it might.
Hold on. He said he got to call it a night.
Yeah, I got to call it a night, but we need to get up on, maybe we should do something, you know, with certain current events, man, where we just come in and break things down and talk about it, man. I think we make good music.
Yeah, that's great, man. You know, I always like to keep the panel open for anybody, and you know, I don't have a real big plan for this channel. I started this channel just so people that like Wilmy, bro, that brother that came on, I literally had him in mind as I was making videos and how I would debate him, you know, my cousin and all of that, if I wanted to talk to them because they didn't want to talk to me. You know, like, so this was my way of speaking out and reaching these people was through my channel, because I knew that they were going to talk to me, but I knew that they were watching.
They're going to listen.
They're going to watch San Miguel TV. Thank you for coming on, Aaron. Yo, you're the man, bro. I appreciate you. I need to have you back. Please. We have to have more conversations, bro.
Yeah, as things come up, you know, we could, you know, get on and talk about it.
Yeah, man. All right.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out, brother.
I'm about to take it easy.
Peace out.
Yeah, so I don't know where we left off. I don't know where we at. San Miguel, we're gonna see you next week. I had to do this because Katai Young dealing with some things. He might not be here next week, but I'm gonna try to still get most of these brothers here again next week. So that's gonna be the
it's cool.
That's gonna be the plan. If not, it's gonna be me and you. You're more than welcome here.
I'm coming out there. I'm coming out there with the wife. So, you know, I might not be able to chill for that long anyways, bro. So, but I'm definitely down to chill for, you know, at least if it's just a touch base, you know.
All right. So just let me know exactly what time and see if Katayan's here and see who's available.
Yeah.
For the most part, everybody is like they working on Friday and Saturday. But most of them they're available after like 7.
Sounds good. That's about the time I'll be around. By 9 p.m., bro. We get up and maybe we might do a live. It should be that's Saturday, September the 27th.
27th, yeah.
Right.
That's next week.
Like at 9:30, 10 p.m. We'll chill mad.
All right, that's good time.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Hopefully you settled in. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody here.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
Peace out.
San Miguel. But nobody logging up.
Should I do that? I don't think I should do that.
She said, don't you?
I'm sorry. Delete that out of it.
He lied. Hey, say goodbye.
Shalom, brother.
Hey, look at my boy. What's up, nigga? Yo, what's up, man? I see you with you ain't have none of that. Look at my boy.
He had the mustache. He had the mustache.
He had the mustache.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be out there next week, man.
I'm gonna be out there next week.
My nigga, bro, I fought with you the long way. What's up, boy? God damn, I ain't seen you since Orlando, boy. Nigga, I'm in there be reminiscing, boy. Hey,
week, bro. Next week, I'm gonna be out there. Next week, man.
all right,
27.
all right. Hey, I should be back in the mix, bro. Fuck with me. You already know what it is, boy. We in here.
Oh, brother, thank you. I appreciate
All right,
y'all.
that nigga.
I got
Bro,
mad
you
love
still
for
look the
y'all,
same.
man.
That nigga still look the same.
It's nothing but love, brother.
That nigga still look the same, boy. Hey, it's good to see you, boy. For real, boy. Hey, Shalom, bro. It's good to see this nigga, man. Hey, you still alive, boy. Hey, you still alive. I don't care what nobody's saying, boy. You still alive, boy. God ain't done with you. Nigga, yeah, we in that bit. What you mean? Come on. Let's go. Come on. Nigga, yeah. Nigga, we in that biz, boy. Come on, boy. It's good to see you, man. God damn, you still alive, boy. You my brother. Hey, you still alive, boy. That's all I'm saying. A lot of motherfuckers dead, boy. You know how many motherfuckers we lost, dog? Where we from?
I lost a lot of people, man. We lost.
Come on, dog.
We lost Andy.
Come on, bro.
Remember Andy?
Bro.
Lamar Gabar passed away.
Lamar Gabar dead?
Yeah, he dead. Lamar Gabar.
He got hit by a bus, right? No. Oh, yeah. That's the way.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I did a whole live, brother. I did a whole live. Remember Andy? We did a whole live, man. Yeah. Shout out to Brooklyn Outlaw. That's Tazadaqyah. Yeah, Lamar Gabar. That's a good brother, man. I shed some tears for that brother. I'll tell you right there. And we're gonna drink for that brother, bro. I don't want to end this live right now.
Damn, I didn't know that, dog. Damn, that kind of fucked me up. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But hey, boy, when you come, I'm gonna try to come through, bro. Just tell your car. You already know your car gonna let me know, bitch. I'm sliding. You feel me? Fuck with me, dog.
Love you, man.
Damn,
I'll be there, bro. I'll be here. I'm coming down.
Yo,
good, bro. What's good?
Up, man?
San Miguel TV in the house.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
hey, brother's grayed up, man.
Yeah, man. You're looking very wise there, my brother.
Yeah, I done took all them years of abuse. Yeah.
You look like you got a lot of stories to tell, brother.
Yeah. You see, I got the hoary. What they call the hoary hairs? Is that what they call
hoary
it?
Head.
The hoary head. Yeah.
That's right, brother. I'm coming out there. Next week. I'll be out there for the 27th. I'll be in Miami. I want to do a live from Miami. But I'll be out there for the Mets versus the Marlins game. But I want to chill with y'all too. You know, I'll be out there next week.
So you'll be here next week. We'll be around next week.
Yeah, man.
Right. Y'all know. I don't know if it's Italian. Yeah. You know, people. I can't say cause you live, but I'm out past my curfew, man. You know, I got to run home. You know, she told me I was supposed to be home at midnight, man. But, it's 2 o'clock, so I'm gonna be seeing the couch tonight, bro.
That's what happens. That's what usually happens.
Yeah,
hey, I got the couch. That's what I do. I got the couch right there, baby.
Yeah. I don't want the couch though, bro. I want to lay in the bed. Yeah, I know that.
Yo,
but yeah, we go. I remember that brother. Damn, I remember him, man.
There was another brother that was red, though.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we're gonna see you next week, man.
Yeah. We were talking about Lamar Gabar.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just looked at the picture and just I thought of that brother and remembered him.
Good guy. They buried him out there in Fort Lauderdale. He's out there. He's buried in Fort Lauderdale somewhere. I want to see his grave. I want to go visit his grave.
Light skin, big brother, big brother.
Terrible. But like I say, we could talk, man. We got lots of stories and situations, man.
Yeah. You're a survivor. We're survivors, bro. We're strong. Look at the name. Look at the name that he put. Warrior Survivors.
Yes, sir. Yes, we got a lot to talk about, man. A lot of shit that happened.
That's what I'm going with. Final answer.
Yeah, I'm ready to unload everything.
Big boy. Yeah.
Ready to unload everything.
I mean,
there was another
tonight has been a great night, man. I'm glad to talk to y'all. Tonight has been awesome.
That's not
I know it's kind of loud, but I'm gonna holler at y'all next week. All right.
All right, man.
All right, peace out. San Miguel TV. I gotta close it out, man. Unless somebody else want to get on. Let me see. Hold on. My bad. Oh, there we go. Wilney, my bro. Salute from Canada. Marvelous design. All right, man. It's been good. I think it's a good time to end it right there. I'm gonna try to go live from Miami next week. Yo, peace out. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Peace.